Chapter 557. Even though human warlocks imitated many powerful existences and created all kinds of powerful secret methods, but after all, they were still secret methods created by imitating those powerful existences. But after all, it was a secret method created by imitating those formidable beings. Among experts of the same rank, the physical constitution of human warlocks was much weaker than that of those formidable beings. Even supreme geniuses with a special constitution like the first Warlock dynasty's Time Lord were weaker than archgods of the same rank who were famous for their tyrannical fleshly bodies. Human warlocks racked their brains to create secret treasures. They were treasures with all kinds of outrageous powers. With the help of secret treasures, human warlocks defeated one powerful race after another and became the pinnacle existences of the world. As the third hero of the Moonlight 10 Heroes, 30% of Soali's strength rested on the evil ogre fiend blade. Now that the evil ogre fiend blade was destroyed, his strength fell to the bottom, and he fell outside the ranks of the Moonlight 10 Heroes. He could no longer contend against Glorious Sun warlocks. When Kai Sheng saw this, he was furious at once, and Glorious Sun warlock rank aura seeped out of him, and he wanted to kill Yang Feng, little bastard. Fiend warlocks and devil warlocks used the bloodline of fiends, devils, and other evil creatures to practice cultivation. Their cultivation speed was far faster than that of ordinary people, their lifespans were longer than that of ordinary warlocks, and their combat strength was far greater than that of ordinary warlocks. But at the same time, there were also great flaws. One of them was that it was difficult to control their emotions, and it was very easy for them to get angry and lose their reason. Within the sphere of influence of the Saint Demon sect, Kai Sheng was like an emperor who could kill anyone he wanted to die. He controlled the lives of countless warlocks and ordinary people, and he would kill people in a fit of anger. Now that he saw the evil ogre fiend's sword destroyed by Yang Feng, his eyes immediately filled with killing intent. The evil ogre fiend's sword was a level 6 secret treasure, but it had all kinds of strange and evil powers. If used well, it could even slay some Glorious Sun warlock rank freaks. There weren't many such treasures in the Saint Demon sect. Now that it was destroyed, Kai Sheng was naturally furious. Humph! Lu Wuchen snorted coldly, and then released Great Circle Glorious Sun warlock rank aura in a flash and enveloped the entire hall. He released killing intent and locked Kai Sheng from afar. If Kai Sheng dared to make a move in the Battle Devil Hall, Lu Wuchen would definitely kill him on the spot. The Battle Demon Hall is enchanted with countless spells. Here, even if a Bright World Warlock comes, they will be easily suppressed by Lu Wuchen. Kai Sheng was alarmed by Lu Wuchen's aura and killing intent. The scarlet color in his eyes slowly receded and he regained a trace of clarity. He looked at Lu Wuchen with incomparable fear before turning his gaze back to the arena. After the true god Empyrean imprint devoured the evil ogre fiend's sword, the chains formed from countless runes continued to extend and stab into the 9 fiend armor on Soali. One after another, sinister and strange power shadows formed by the demonic power flew out of the 9 demons' armor and were forcibly pulled into the real god Empyrean seal. No! My 9 demons' armor! Soali's face was filled with despair, and he let out another extremely miserable and shrill cry. The 9 demons' armor on him cracked, shattered, and fell to the ground. After losing the 9 fiend armor and the evil ogre fiend's sword, Soali's demonic chi, which seemed capable of covering the sun, suddenly disappeared, and he only exuded the aura of an ordinary pinnacle moonlight warlock. Tears of blood flowed out of Soali's eyes, and he roared like a devil, "Yang Feng, you dared to destroy my 9 demons' armor and the evil ogre fiend's sword. I want you dead, I want you dead. I want you to die a horrible death." The Saint Demon sect's warlocks like to use the power of fiends and evil gods. But at the same time, they are easily eroded by the evil power, become cruel, bloodthirsty, and easily lose their reason. If it was a warlock from the 10 great sects, even if they were defeated by Yang Feng, they wouldn't be so stupid as to start a fight in the Battle Demon Hall. Devil Grand Duke Batista of the 7th floor of Hell, I am willing to offer my flesh and blood, soul, and everything else. Soali's eyes were scarlet red as he chanted a strange incantation. A terrifying aura spread out from his body. A black, twisted tunnel slowly appeared, and an aura that contained great terror and despair gushed out from that twisted tunnel. When Yang Feng sensed the terrifying aura, his face flickered at once. This isn't something I can deal with. Is this great sacrifice, a spell that sacrifices everything to a powerful existence from another plane in exchange for that existence's help? The infernal realm is the 9th floor of hell, formed by devils from the endless abyss that runs through countless planes. There are countless devils living in the infernal realm. The devils living in the infernal realm are somewhat different from the archdevils of the ancient demon plane. They are existences created by using the soul of an infinity warlock rank archdevil Grand Duke of the 9 Demons plane as a blueprint. The Devil Grand Duke Batista of the 7th floor is a pinnacle infinity warlock rank existence. In the 7th floor of hell, even a warlock monarch rank powerhouse may not be his opponent. Even if such a powerhouse sends a clone to Soali, it isn't an existence that Yang Feng can contend against. Stop, Soali, you idiot. We concede. Kai Sheng's face fell, and he bellowed and spread the fingers of a hand, and black gas flew out of his hand, enveloped Soali, and formed black runes that sealed Soali, pulled him out of the arena, and flew to Kai Sheng's side. Once Soali completes the great sacrifice, he will die. Everything will be devoured by the Devil Grand Duke Batista. His soul will fall into Batista's hands, and he will reincarnate into a devil with great potential. If Soali's great sacrifice could kill Yang Feng, Kai Sheng wouldn't mind perishing together with him. But this is the Battle Demon Hall. Even if the Devil Grand Duke Batista summons a clone here, it will be easily killed, and everything will become the Battle Demon sect's spoils of war. Soali's death would be tantamount to his contribution to the Battle Demon sect. Kai Sheng naturally won't let this happen. After Soali lost the 2 level 6 secret treasures that were most suitable for him, his strength fell to the ordinary pinnacle Moonlight Warlock realm. Even so, he was still a pinnacle Moonlight Warlock, ranking in the top 20 among the Battle Demon sect's Moonlight Warlocks. Kai Sheng naturally won't give up on such a powerhouse easily. Defeated, even a Moonlight 10 Heroes rank Warlock was defeated by him. How terrifying. He has just promoted to a Moonlight Warlock, yet his strength is already so terrifying. How terrifying. With his current strength, among Moonlight Warlocks, only Moonlight Warlocks of the 7 stars are his match. In the Battle Demon Hall, the leaders from different warlock groups looked at Yang Feng with envy and jealousy in their eyes. Yang Feng broke through in the Time Sky City a few months ago and advanced to a Moonlight Warlock. It was for this reason that the Saint Demon sect's Kai Sheng brought Soali of the 10 Heroes to challenge Yang Feng and cast a shadow over his mind. It would be best if they could inflict heavy damage to Yang Feng's soul. The evil ogre fiend sword's secret treasure was extremely evil and contained all kinds of incredible abilities. Once the fleshly body was slashed, even the soul would be contaminated. After the soul of a Moonlight Warlock ranked powerhouse was contaminated by the evil ogre fiend sword, they might not be able to heal their soul for years or even decades. Standing in the arena, Yang Feng looked at the Tai Yi sect's Shangguan Luo and said with a smile, "I'm very interested in the Moonlight 10 Heroes. Shangguan Luo, why don't we take this opportunity to exchange pointers?" Numerous gazes focused on Shangguan Luo, filled with a strange look. The Battle Demon sect's disciples, on the other hand, showed looks of excitement. A few years ago, the Tai Yi sect's Yuanyang came to the Battle Demon sect and virtually swept the Battle Demon sect's younger generation geniuses. If it wasn't for Yang Feng's sudden appearance, the Battle Demon sect's face might have been swept to the ground. Now that Yang Feng took the initiative to challenge the Tai Yi sect's Shangguan Luo, the Battle Demon sect's disciples showed looks of excitement. The complexions of the Tai Yi sect's warlock geniuses, except for Shangguan Luo, suddenly changed slightly. A peculiar glint streaked past Zhang Xuanchong's eyes, and he said faintly, "There's no need to compete." Soali is the 3rd hero of the Moonlight 10 Heroes, ranking above Shangguan Luo. Since Soali was defeated by you, then Shangguan Luo is not your opponent. Originally, Zhang Xianchong brought Shangguan Luo here with the intention of teaching Yang Feng a lesson and diminishing his prestige. But now that Soali was easily defeated by Yang Feng, he naturally wouldn't let Shangguan Luo fight Yang Feng. Yang Feng gave Shengguan Luo a slightly provocative look, only to see Shengguan Luo have a calm expression on his face, as if he didn't see Yang Feng's provocation. Yang Feng raised his eyebrows and assessed in his heart, this guy is a bit more difficult to deal with than that idiot Soali. Since Zhang Xianchong took a big step back, Yang Feng naturally couldn't continue to be aggressive. He returned to his seat and looked down at the warlock leaders. The next part of the moonlight ceremony was very calm and peaceful. It smoothly came to an end. Just as the moonlight ceremony was about to end, a voice suddenly came from outside, "The Great Cloud Dynasty's angel has arrived." Under everyone's gazes, a middle-aged eunuch dressed in a gorgeous eunuch robe stepped into the reception hall under the escort of 20 Starry Sky Warlock rank royal guards. The middle-aged eunuch looked around with dignity and said faintly, "Who is Yang Feng? Come and receive the decree." Yang Feng got up from his seat and came to in front of the middle-aged eunuch. "I am Yang Feng." Everyone present stood up at once. Lu Wuchen also got up from the seat of honor and walked down the dais. The middle-aged eunuch took out a golden imperial edict from a jade basin beside him and unfurled it. Suddenly, resplendent golden light diffused from the imperial edict and filled the reception hall with terrifying pressure similar to divine might. Chapter 558. Under the terrifying might, the warlocks below the Moonlight Warlock rank were forced to kneel on the ground, and their bodies trembled. Only powerhouses above the Moonlight Warlock rank could contend with the terrifying pressure emitted by the Imperial Edict. Once you stepped into the Moonlight Warlock realm, you would be a transcendent. After the accumulation of power in the Great Warlock and Starry Sky Warlock realms, human warlocks transformed into Moonlight Warlocks, and their soul changed dramatically. They no longer feared divine might, demonic might, dragon might, and other such pressures. When the middle-aged eunuch saw the Moonlight Warlock standing upright, he frowned slightly and said with a solemn expression, "By the will of heaven, the Emperor decrees that the battle demon Sex Yang Feng, who possesses both ability and integrity, is hereby summoned to the Holy Cloud capital to await orders." When the middle-aged eunuch announced the imperial edict, the warlocks above the Moonlight Warlock rank bowed slightly to show their respect for the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial power. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, the strongest force is the imperial court and the royal family, which controls most of the imperial court strength. Unless the 10 great sects and 8 great families united, they might not be able to subvert the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family. Therefore, the people of the 10 great sects and 8 great families maintained a certain amount of awe towards the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court. Yang Feng responded flatly, "Thank you, Your Majesty." After hearing the imperial edict, many warlock leaders looked at Yang Feng with envy and jealousy in their eyes. Even many warlocks of the 10 great sects showed looks of envy. Apart from the 10 great sects and 8 great families who took the initiative to send their disciples to the Great Cloud Dynasty, the Great Cloud Dynasty also had the right to recruit 1 or 2 Moonlight Warlocks from the 10 great sects and 8 great families every once in a while. Under normal circumstances, the Great Cloud Dynasty wouldn't use this right. After all, the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court was extremely powerful. It had more than 100 planes under its control and countless resources. Countless powerful warlocks worked for the Great Cloud Dynasty. Many powerhouses dedicated to cultivation were recruited by the Great Cloud Dynasty, including many glorious Sun Warlocks, Bright World Warlocks, and even Infinity Warlocks. The Moonlight 7 Stars, the 7 most powerful Moonlight Warlocks of the Great Cloud Dynasty, served the Great Cloud Dynasty as one of its appointed officials. For His Majesty the Great Cloud Dynasty to take the initiative to summon Yang Feng to the Holy Cloud capital, it is clear that he wants to put Yang Feng in an important position. Generally, after disciples of the 10 great sects advanced to the Moonlight Warlock rank, they would join the imperial court of the Great Cloud Dynasty, grasp part of the dynasty's authority, obtain tremendous cultivation resources, and safeguard the interests of the sect. The children of the 10 great sects and the 8 great families have a great advantage in joining the Great Cloud Dynasty. But the warlock geniuses recruited by Great Cloud Dynasty are the future pillars of Great Cloud Dynasty. The middle-aged eunuch took a deep look at Yang Feng and said, "Yang Feng, please arrive in Yunjing City within 3 months. I'll go back to report." Yang Feng said, "May I know how to address you, sir?" The middle-aged eunuch smiled and said, "My name is Lu Fu. Yang Feng, let's meet again if fate wills it." With that, Lu Fu turned around and strode outside under the protection of the 20 starry sky warlocks. As soon as Lu Fuha left, the moonlight ceremony ended. Yang Feng returned to the immortal Huang Palace and told Huang Yihe everything. Huang Yihe thought for a moment, then said, "His Majesty's direct conscription. It seems like your performance in the Time Sky City is too outstanding. What's your plan?" Yang Feng replied, "I originally planned to travel to the astral boundary and collect cultivation resources. But now that the imperial edict has arrived, I can only make a trip to Yunjing City." Yang Feng originally planned to enter secluded cultivation for a period of time to properly practice the Transcendent Pupil's secret method, and then go to the Andrak plane to get enough Bamhagra stone to make a level 3 optical computer. After that, he would travel in Great Cloud Dynasty under another name. The conscription of the Great Cloud Dynasty's emperor disrupted all of Yang Feng's plans. Huang Yihe said with a smile, "The holy capital Yunjing City is a good place. There are many opportunities in a place like this. Feng, you don't have to worry. You are now a Moonlight Warlock, which makes you completely different from ordinary low-level warlocks. Even if the court assigns you a position, it will mostly be an idle one. Or you can be provided with enough assistance. Even if you enter secluded cultivation, there will be assistants to take care of everything for you. Moonlight Warlocks may spend decades or even 100 years researching an experiment or a secret method. Most Moonlight Warlocks who devoted themselves to cultivation were unwilling to be distracted by mundane affairs. Therefore, Great Cloud Dynasty would provide them with many assistants. Most of the matters would be handled by the assistants. Only some major matters would require Moonlight Warlocks to make decisions. In subcontinents like the Tyrannid subcontinent, many warlock groups like to hide behind the scenes and manipulate mortal states as their puppets to collect resources for them. This was because many warlocks wholeheartedly focused on cultivation and didn't like to pay attention to mundane affairs. The main continent, however, was different from Tyrannid and the other subcontinents. The main continent possessed incomparably rich resources, its territory was vast and boundless, moreover, it had experienced the 8 great warlock dynasties. Warlocks had rich experience in how to control power and practice cultivation. The greater the power, the more cultivation resources they could obtain. Naturally, their cultivation would be smoother and their cultivation base would be higher. As long as Moonlight Warlocks and above were provided with enough assistance, then even if the Moonlight Warlock entered secluded cultivation for decades or 100 years, it wouldn't affect the operation of the state. Yuan Yi spent most of his time in secluded cultivation and studying various secret methods. He wouldn't go out unless there was a major event. When Yang Feng heard this, he felt a little relieved. The Cloud Capital is the center of the Great Cloud Dynasty. In the Cloud Capital, experts are as common as clouds, and there are more than 10 Infinity Warlocks. Many human warlock geniuses would gather in the Cloud Capital, hoping to join Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court and obtain various cultivation secret methods and resources. In the Cloud Capital, Great Warlocks, Starry Sky Warlocks, and even Moonlight Warlocks and Glorious Sun Warlocks could be seen everywhere. Even Infinity Warlocks wouldn't dare to act unscrupulously in the Cloud Capital. Otherwise, they might be suppressed. Yang Feng originally planned to travel to the Cloud Capital after he reached the Glorious Sun Warlock rank. After all, the stronger he was, the more comfortable he would be in the Cloud Capital with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Huang Yihe waved his hand, and a stand-in doll engraved with countless runes flew into Yang Feng's hand. Since His Majesty issued an imperial edict to summon you to the Cloud Capital, then there is no room for negotiation. This is a stand-in doll. If someone uses the soul extinction curse on you, this stand-in doll can die in your place once. The longer the casting distance of ordinary spells increased, the less powerful they would be. An Infinity Warlock couldn't kill a Moonlight Warlock from tens of thousands of kilometers away. At most, they could crush a Starry Sky Warlock. As for the Great Soul Extinction Curse, it was peerlessly strange. The caster could curse and kill the enemy from hundreds of thousands of miles away through some casting medium, and the power of the spell would not weaken in the slightest. It was extremely strange and terrifying, making it impossible to guard against. Yang Feng took the substitute golem engraved with countless runes, and his eyes revealed a look of gratitude. "Thank you, teacher." Huang Yihe smiled and handed Yang Feng a jade card engraved with more than a dozen runes. "I still have a few friends in the cloud capital that I haven't seen for many years. You can take this jade card to them and ask them to take care of you." "Yes, teacher." "Okay, if you have any questions about cultivation, feel free to ask me." "Yes." Yang Feng carefully consulted the Infinity Warlock Huang Yihe about the various problems he encountered in cultivation. Huang Yihe carefully gave pointers to Yang Feng. With a few words, he dispelled all kinds of doubts that Yang Feng had encountered while practicing cultivation. As if dispelling the fog that hindered Yang Feng, Huang Yihe let Yang Feng see a further path. Cloud Province is the greater province where the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family is located. At the time, the founding emperor of the Great Cloud Dynasty used Cloud Province as the foundation. With the support of the 10 great sects and the 8 great families, he launched an expedition everywhere, defeated countless warlock groups, took control of the Eastern world, and founded the Great Cloud Dynasty. It was because of this contribution that the 10 great sects and the 8 great families were able to become the top forces in the Eastern world. At the same time, in order to maintain their rights, the 10 great sects and the 8 great families sent countless warlock geniuses to join the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court and become officials. Cloud Province, in a luxurious airship port leading to the cloud capital. Amazing! It's possible to achieve such an effect with spells. Walking alone in the luxurious airship port, Yang Feng looked at the snow-white and smooth floor. On the huge crystal panels inlaid in the surroundings, a beautiful female celebrity was singing with all her might, and a dozen warlock girls were dancing behind her. It was a variety of images created by magic, and the huge crystal panel was the carrier of the various images, the phantom crystal. On the continent, many spells have been popularized and put to practical use. Since magic stones could already be mass-produced, there are many small and simple household secret treasures on the market that use magic stones.
Magic lamps, TV-like magic crystal panels, and magic sports cars have become very popular on the continent. Even ordinary people can use them. Of course, these secret treasures with biological magic energy could only be used in cities equipped with super-large purifiers. Once ordinary people left the city, they would be eroded by the powerful biological magic energy and become strange monsters if they were careless. Only official warlocks can freely use all kinds of simple secret treasures powered by magic stones and truly enjoy the conveniences brought about by the magic civilization. Yang Feng looked around and exclaimed in admiration, apart from the lack of internet and some special electrical appliances, the conveniences brought about by Earth's technology can be realized with spells. As expected of the most advanced and powerful human warlock civilization.
Chapter 559. In fact, it wasn't that spells couldn't achieve a network. On the Feisua plane, the weave network used by the goddess of the weave was more advanced than Earth's network. By using the weave's concept, a more powerful magic network could be built than Earth's network. As long as warlocks could think of it, they could use spells to achieve it. The 7th Warlock Dynasty, the Magic Note Dynasty, had developed a magic network covering the entire Tsangji plane, which was named the Magic Note First Magic Network. By relying on the Magic Note First Magic Network, the Magic Note Lord's control over the entire Tsangji plane surpassed that of other warlock emperors by far. But after the collapse of the 7th Warlock Dynasty, the Magic Note First Magic Network was the first to be destroyed by the 7th Warlock Dynasty's resistance army. After the 8th Warlock Dynasty's Dawn Lord ascended to the throne, he also wanted to establish a magic network covering the entire Tsangji plane, but was jointly resisted by the warlock groups from the eastern and western worlds. Once the magic network was successfully established, the dynasties would use the power of the magic network to firmly control the entire Tsangji plane. Warlock groups such as the Battle Demonic sect and the Tai Yi sect would slowly become vassals of the dynasties, and would no longer have their previous transcendent status. It was because of this that the magic network covering the entire Tsangji plane couldn't emerge. However, each of the major forces had also secretly established their own spell network. As an upper echelon of the battle demonic sect, Yang Feng knew that several important planes of the battle demonic sect had already established magic networks and firmly grasped those planes. In the battle demonic sect, there was no magic network at all, and there were very few things like magic crystal boards that were similar to televisions. Unless one practiced cultivation until the Moonlight Warlock rank, magic crystal boards and such were not allowed to be installed in the rooms of warlocks. That was because the battle demonic sect was worried that warlocks would lose their will to improve due to excessive indulgence. After Yang Feng came to the Great Cloud Dynasty, he had been practicing cultivation, traveling the world, and looking for cultivation resources to improve his cultivation base. He rarely had the leisure to stroll around the most prosperous places in the Great Cloud Dynasty. Seeing the changes in the surroundings made him feel very novel. As expected of the most prosperous place in the Eastern world. The Fuso subcontinent is already very prosperous, far surpassing the Turandot subcontinent. Unfortunately, it still can't compare to the Great Cloud Dynasty. Yang Feng admired the surrounding scenery along the way, and boarded a luxurious white flying vessel like an ordinary low-level warlock. Due to the fear of being assassinated, Yang Feng had already changed his identity into a person called Zhao Fan. Zhao Fan was indeed an ordinary quasi-moonlight warlock. During an adventure, he tried to forcibly promote to a moonlight warlock, and eventually died. By chance, Huang Yihe obtained Zhao Fan's relics and preserved them. Only now did he give Yang Feng Zhao Fan's identity and all the information. Using a secret method, Yang Feng transformed into Zhao Fan and went to Yunjing City in Zhao Fan's identity. In this way, apart from Huang Yihe, no one could grasp Yang Feng's whereabouts. Once Yang Feng entered Yunjing City, he would be safe. Yang Feng arrived at his seat and sat down, then saw two girls sitting on the two seats to his left. There was a girl wearing a pair of sunglasses that covered her eyes and a big hat on her head. Her skin was as white as jade, and she had long black hair that flowed like a waterfall. Her figure was slender and sexy. The other girl had short hair, a delicate face, a petite and exquisite figure, and was full of youthful vigor and lovely beauty. She wore a short-sleeved t-shirt and short hot pants, exposing her slender, snow-white nakedness. She looked extremely charming. Yang Feng glanced at the two girls, scanned them with his tremendous spirit force, and quickly determined their cultivation bases, level 1 Warlock and level 3 Warlock. Yang Feng was very cautious along the way. After all, he had offended a lot of forces. The short-haired girl suddenly raised her eyebrows, stared at Yang Feng vigilantly, and barked, "Uncle, don't look at me lecherously, or I'll sue you for sexual harassment. You're not allowed to scan others with spirit force. Scanning others with spirit force is not only impolite, but also illegal, understand?" The girl wearing a pair of sunglasses also raised her eyebrows, turned around, and stared at Yang Feng. A silent pressure spread from her. Yang Feng said lightly, "Sorry, it was my fault. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, it was very impolite to scan other warlocks with spirit force. After all, when the weak were scanned by the spirit force of the strong, it was like being stripped of everything and allowed to be browsed by the strong. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, this was a minor offense. In the cruel secret realms and other planes, the strong were respected and could be unbridled. However, in the Great Cloud Dynasty, the laws were strict. Even Starry Sky warlocks couldn't use their spirit force to scan ordinary people and other warlocks at will." The short-haired girl snorted coldly, took out a magic crystal plate, and fiddled with it. She no longer paid attention to Yang Feng, humph, insincere. The girl with the big sunglasses also reclined on the spacious chair and fell asleep. Yang Feng also reclined on the chair and closed his eyes to rest. With a slight shake, the huge airship suddenly rose up and flew towards the sky. Boom! All of a sudden, a huge tremor reverberated in the huge flying vessel. The defensive barrier of the huge airship was destroyed, and a huge hole appeared on the side of the huge airship. One after another, black-clothed warlocks exuding great warlock rank life force and dressed in black battle robes entered the huge hole. The leader was a warlock dressed in a black battle robe, had short hair, and wore an eye patch inscribed with a strange demonic curse on his left eye. A great warlock dressed in a white uniform suddenly came out of the cockpit of the airship and barked, "What do you want?" The great warlock dressed in a white uniform was one of the 3 great warlock guards of the airship. The warlock with an eye patch engraved with fiend seals on his left eye said coldly, "Kill him." A warlock in black wearing a black battle robe smiled ferociously, then twisted and turned into an abyssal fiend exuding dense demonic chi. With a blink, the warlock suddenly appeared behind the great warlock, pierced his heart with a claw, dug out the great warlock's heart and swallowed it. Murder! Help! No, don't! Screams of terror came from the huge airship. Almost 70% of the people aboard the airship were official warlocks. But most of these warlocks were ordinary research-type warlocks nurtured by colleges. Most of them were low-level warlocks who used magic stones and elixirs to advance, and weren't good at fighting. Tyrandit subcontinent's level 1 warlocks could use all kinds of strange spells and elixirs to kill level 2 and level 3 research-type warlocks. The Great Cloud Dynasty's laws were strict, and research-type warlocks might not have seen murder in their entire lives. Now that they saw someone die in front of them, they screamed in horror and lost their composure. The warlock with the eye patch said coldly with a gloomy expression, "Shut up. Those who don't shut up will die." The warlocks dressed in black uniforms twisted and turned into abyssal fiends. Exuding dense demonic chi, they stared malevolently at the passengers of the airship. Under the pressure of the 12 great fiends, the complexions of the hundreds of people aboard the airship changed greatly, and they didn't dare to make the slightest movement. The eye-patch warlock smiled coldly and strode towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly, and his eyes flashed with doubt. Was I exposed? Shouldn't my disguise be perfect? How did I get exposed? Besides, if I was exposed, why would Starry Sky warlocks come after me? Fuck off. The eye-patch warlock came over, swept Yang Feng with a glance, and his eyes flashed with contempt, and he barked. Yang Feng pretended to be alarmed, his body shivering. He quickly got up and hid to one side. The short-haired beauty shot Yang Feng a contemptuous glance, her face pale, her tender body trembling, and she looked at the eye-patch warlock with fear. The eye-patch warlock's gaze swept past the short-haired beauty, and then fell on the beautiful woman wearing sunglasses, who looked like she was asleep. He said with a light smile, "Miss Murong Yuling, please get up. My lord has fallen in love with you at first sight and has invited you to a gathering." Murong Yuling took off her big sunglasses, revealing a beautiful face that could cause the downfall of a nation. It was as if there were flowers blooming behind her. She was incomparably beautiful. Sitting in a corner, Yang Feng stared at Murong Yuling curiously. "Isn't this woman the celebrity I just saw?" Murong Yuling frowned slightly and asked, "Who is your lord?" The eye-patch warlock replied with a smile, "You'll know later." Murong Yuling's face turned frigid, and she uttered, "You dare to hijack the airship and kill people on it. Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the Demon Hunting Division?" The Demon Hunting Division was a department of the Great Cloud Dynasty that suppressed powerful criminals above the Great Warlock rank. Every warlock in the Demon Hunting Division was a powerhouse above the Starry Sky Warlock rank. The division chief of the Demon Hunting Division was an Infinity Warlock rank expert. Many Moonlight Demons and Glorious Sun Demons were arrested and suppressed by the Demon Hunting Division, thus maintaining order in the Great Cloud Dynasty. This way, powerful warlocks wouldn't dare to violate the law unscrupulously. The Demon Hunting Division's lackeys are indeed very strong. However, they still can't catch us. Miss Murong Yuling, don't delay any longer. My patience has a limit. Although I don't dare to kill you, but killing other people isn't a problem." The eye-patch warlock smiled slightly, then reached out, grabbed the neck of the short-haired beauty, and lifted her up. Chapter 560. When the eye-patch warlock grabbed her by the neck, the short-haired beauty's head suddenly began to congeal with blood, and she struggled frantically and kicked the eye-patch warlock. But no matter how the short-haired beauty attacked, she couldn't break through the eye-patch warlock's life force field. She could only walk towards death with a look of horror and despair on her face. The eye-patch warlock watched the short-haired beauty struggle towards death, and revealed an intoxicated smile. Watching such a beautiful thing wither in my hands, what a sense of accomplishment. I can't stop this feeling. With a pained expression on her face, the short-haired beauty transmitted a thought of horror and despair. Don't kill me. Save me, I don't want to die. Murong Yuling frowned and said, stop. I'll go with you, let her go. She's innocent. The eye-patch warlock showed a cruel and sinister smile and said gracefully, Miss Murong Yuling, I'm sorry, but this is my hobby. Watching beautiful things wither in my own hands, this is my greatest hobby and interest. You're too slow. She's dead because of you. The eye-patch warlock's voice had just fallen, when several huge wind blades shot out from behind and slashed at him at once. His life force field was directly cut open, and he was instantly chopped into more than a dozen pieces, which scattered on the ground. I'm dead. No, I don't want to die. The eye-patch warlock was a starry sky warlock. When his remaining head saw his body split apart, it burst into a scream of horror, and finally fell to the ground, a look of horror and despair on its face. Thanks to the frightening life force of a starry sky warlock, the eye-patch warlock still survived for a short period of time after being cut into pieces, but he eventually died. When the short-haired beauty fell to the ground, she coughed a few times and stared at Yang Feng with an incredulous look on her face. You're a starry sky warlock? Yang Feng replied with a faint smile, yes, I'm a starry sky warlock. The short-haired beauty had a look of gratitude on her face. Suddenly, her pretty face changed, and she shouted, thank you for saving me. Be careful. Spatial fluctuations flickered, and four abyssal great fiends appeared beside Yang Feng via blink and extended their claws towards Yang Feng's heart from four directions. Hurricanes suddenly swept around Yang Feng, and wind blades containing the law of wind slashed the four abyssal great fiends into pieces in an instant. Yang Feng silently recited an incantation and pointed at the void, and strange winds drifted inside the flying vessel. An abyssal great demon shouted, stop! Surrender! Otherwise, we will start slaughtering everyone on this flying ship. The abyssal great fiend's words had just fallen, when a strange wind spread throughout the flying vessel. Without a sound, the more than a dozen great warlock-rank abyssal fiends suddenly disintegrated, turned into a strange torrent of flesh, and were blown out of the flying vessel. So strong! This is a starry sky warlock. A combat-type starry sky warlock. So this is a battle-type starry sky warlock, amazing. Aboard the huge flying vessel, the research-type warlocks stared at Yang Feng with awe in their eyes. Some warlocks even revealed looks of worship. Although the Great Cloud Dynasty's warlock civilization was extremely developed, but most people generally practiced cultivation until they became official warlocks, and then went out to find a job to make a living. After all, most people were still ordinary people, unlike geniuses who could practice cultivation until the Great Warlock or Starry Sky Warlock rank. Even in the Battle Demon sect, where geniuses gathered and great warlocks could be seen everywhere, there were still many warlock geniuses trapped in the Great Warlock realm, unable to break through throughout their lives. The Battle Demon sect had a large number of Starry Sky Warlocks because it had many geniuses, a deep foundation, and a long history. Since Starry Sky Warlocks could live for more than 1,000 years, they seemed to have accumulated a lot. Even in the Great Cloud Dynasty, in some small places, a Starry Sky Warlock was enough to dominate a region. The short-haired girl full of youthful vigor stared at Yang Feng with excitement and worship in her beautiful eyes. Amazing. The terrifying aura exuded by the abyssal great fiends could oppress the short-haired girl, leaving her powerless to resist. Yang Feng easily killed the abyssal great fiends, which planted a seed of worship in the short-haired girl's heart. Who are you, Your Excellency? To dare kill people from the fiend's hands, do you want to have an irreconcilable feud with the fiend's hands? Along with a gloomy voice, a handsome warlock dressed in a black warlock robe, with a trace of hostility between his eyebrows, and exuding quasi-moonlight warlock rank might walked out of the large hole. A level 1 warlock, who had quietly put on a spectacle-like secret treasure called a realm detector, looked at the warlock, and his face changed dramatically at once, and he cried out, Quasi-moonlight warlock, he's a quasi-moonlight warlock. What, a quasi-moonlight warlock? He's such a terrifying existence. A quasi-moonlight warlock, only one step away from becoming a transcendent rank powerhouse. Why would such an existence come here? This time, we're screwed. When the ordinary warlocks aboard the flying vessel heard the words quasi-moonlight warlock, their countenances changed dramatically, and their eyes shimmered with fear and despair. Moonlight warlocks were transcendent rank powerhouses. With an area of effect spell, more than 95% of the warlocks aboard the flying vessel would die. A quasi-moonlight warlock could easily kill all the warlocks aboard the flying vessel. The Fiend's Hands, it's a warlock group that has risen recently. Reportedly, their church master is a moonlight warlock. Moonlight warlock. The Fiend's Hands actually have such a terrifying expert. Suddenly, exclamations came from the flying vessel, and the fear in the warlock's eyes intensified. Moonlight warlocks were transcendent ranked powerhouses. For ordinary people in the Great Cloud Dynasty, they were elusive legendary figures with all kinds of privileges. Ordinary warlocks didn't dare to be enemies with such terrifying figures. The Fiend's Hands? Never heard of it. It seems to be just a second-rate evil warlock group. Yang Feng thought for a while, but didn't find this name in the list of evil warlock groups that couldn't be provoked. Evil warlock groups were similar to the underworld on Earth. The evil warlock groups are made up of heartbroken and insane evil warlocks who are willing to commit all kinds of crimes. Evil warlocks frequently massacred cities and used the lives and souls of countless ordinary people to refine soul stones, blood essence, and other treasures. The strength of top evil warlock groups could even be compared to that of the 10 great sects and the 8 great families. However, evil warlock groups have always been besieged by the Great Cloud Dynasty, so they hid very deeply, making it difficult to find traces of them. The handsome quasi-moonlight warlock looked at Yang Feng with an arrogant expression and sneered, "Give up resistance, let me set up a restriction, and then join the Fiend's Hands. Only then will you have a chance to live. Otherwise, today will be the day you die." With a flick of Yang Feng's wrist, a level 5 secret treasure lightning dagger engraved with lightning runes suddenly appeared in his hand. Countless bolts of lightning flashed, and the lightning dagger turned into a dazzling bolt of lightning that flew out in an instant, pierced through the quasi-moonlight warlock's life force field, and stabbed into his fleshly body. Countless bolts of lightning flashed and swallowed the quasi-moonlight warlock. No! Lightning's secret treasure, how can you have a lightning's secret treasure? Don't! Along with miserable screams, the quasi-moonlight warlock was suddenly engulfed by the violent lightning and turned into ashes. Only a storage ring and a starry sky core fell to the ground. As the ruler of the Fuso subcontinent's Nishino state, Yang Feng had countless secret treasures in his possession. There weren't many level 6 secret treasures or higher, but level 5 secret treasures were a lot. The lightning dagger was a fine level 5 secret treasure, and it was comparable to some low-level level 6 secret treasures in power, which was why it could insta-kill a quasi-moonlight warlock. After Yang Feng killed the quasi-moonlight warlock, he walked towards the huge hole. With just one step, he arrived at the huge hole. A black shuttle had already been activated, turning into a black light as it flew into the distance. When Yang Feng saw this, he frowned slightly. If he used his own strength, he would naturally be able to destroy the black shuttle. But Zhao Fan didn't have the terrifying power to destroy the fleeing black shuttle. The captain of the flying boat came to Yang Feng with the entire flying boat staff and thanked him, "Sir, thank you very much for repelling the freaks. On behalf of everyone on the flying boat, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to you." Nichim. Yang Feng responded indifferently, then returned to his seat and sat down. Murong Yuling's beautiful eyes sparkled, and she uttered gratefully, "I am Murong Yuling. Big brother, thank you for saving me. If it weren't for you, I would have been dead." Yang Feng replied, "It was nothing." The eyes of the short-haired girl lit up, and she quickly came to Murong Yuling and said enthusiastically, "Big sister Murong Yuling, my name is Lan Chuxia, I'm a big fan of yours. Can you give me an autograph?" Murong Yuling smiled sweetly and took out a pen to give Lan Chuxia an autograph. After getting the autograph, Lan Chuxia smiled sweetly at Yang Feng and said, "Big brother, my name is Lan Chuxia. Thank you for saving me. Otherwise, I would have been strangled to death by that pervert." Yang Feng uttered with a smile, "As long as one has the ability, no one can see a cute girl like you being strangled to death by that pervert. Otherwise, the world would have lost a future great beauty." Chapter 561. As they chatted along the way, Yang Feng learned some basic information about the two girls. Murong Yuling was a beautiful warlock who was popular in the Cloud Province. She was a soul singer who cultivated a special secret method. Her voice possessed a strange magic power. Immersed in her voice, even Starry Sky warlocks would experience a trace of spirit force increase. In the Archgod era, there was a beautiful archgod called Moon Song. Moon Song had a mystical talent. Her voice had the terrifying ability to increase soul force. At that time, Moon Song would sing on the Moon God Mountain every 100 years. At that time, countless archgods would come from all over the Zhangji plain to listen to her voice. When the Time Lord rebelled against the archgods for the third time, the archgod Moon Song killed a good brother of the Time Lord with the Moon God's soul-subduing song and seriously injured the Time Lord. Later, the archgod Moon Song was slain by the Time Lord. Legend has it that when he killed Moon Song, the Time Lord's soul was injured by the Moon God's soul-subduing song, which resulted in his early death. In the Archgod era, there were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. There were many archgods of the same rank as warlock emperors. Before the Time Lord reached the warlock emperor realm, he failed many times and was injured countless times. After he ascended to the warlock emperor realm, although there were no more legends of him being defeated, but the historical records proved that he was seriously injured several times. Soul singers were bloodline warlocks artificially created by the second warlock dynasty's taboo lord using some blood essence left behind by the archgod Moon Song and various incredible taboo spells. The first generation soul singers possessed a bit of the power of the archgod Moon Song, and their songs could increase the soul force of infinity warlocks by a trace. After a long time, the bloodline of soul singers became thinner and thinner. It was already amazing for modern soul singers to increase the spirit force of people with a song. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, there were countless people with soul singer bloodline, but very few could awaken the power of the bloodline. Murong Yuling was a level 3 bloodline warlock who awakened the soul singer bloodline. With the power of the soul singer, she became popular in the Cloud Province and had countless fans. There was no lack of Moonlight Warlock and Glorious Sun Warlock rank powerhouses. Lan Chuxia is a student of an advanced warlock school in Cloud Capital. The Great Cloud Dynasty has fully popularized warlock education and is divided into elementary warlock schools, intermediate warlock schools, and advanced warlock schools. Elementary warlock academies impart all kinds of basic knowledge as well as how to promote to an apprentice warlock. Intermediate warlock academies impart apprentice warlocks with the knowledge to promote to an official warlock. Advanced warlock academies impart level 1 warlocks with all kinds of magic knowledge to promote to great warlocks. Ordinary people who didn't have enough talent and couldn't enter the major warlock groups would advance step by step according to this promotion process. After graduation, they would join the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court and make meritorious service, and then obtain more advanced secret methods and resources. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, magic stones can already be mass-produced through some strange and powerful extraordinary plants. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, magic stones are very cheap, so many people can buy all kinds of magic stones to practice cultivation. If their aptitudes weren't level 1 or level 2 spirit aptitudes, then basically many people could practice cultivation until level 1 warlock. By directly joining the Battle Demonic sect, Yang Feng had, in fact, skipped countless steps. Now, he is a Moonlight Warlock. If he hadn't joined the Battle Demonic sect, Yang Feng would be studying in an advanced Warlock Academy and competing with the Warlock geniuses in order to join the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court. As they chatted along the way, time flew by, and the Cloud Capital appeared before everyone's eyes. Yang Feng glanced at the Cloud Capital and exclaimed in admiration, "That's the Cloud Capital, how imposing." The Cloud Capital's 1,000-meter tall city wall looks like it pierces into the sky, and there are countless runes engraved on the huge city wall. There are 9-story-tall warlock towers scattered all over the city wall. On the city wall, there is a statue every 100 meters. The statues are strange, each of which is a powerful extraordinary life form that looks like a dragon or a fiend. In the center of Yunjing's city, 36 dragon-shaped clouds supported a city in the clouds and floated in the clouds. The city within the city suspended in the clouds is the Cloud Sky Royal City, the center of the Great Cloud Dynasty. The entire cloud capital is shrouded in a huge restricted space array. Even infinity warlocks can't use spells to fly freely in the sky. At most, they can only fly at a low altitude. The areas in the cloud capital are divided into 5 classes. The first class is the Transcendent Area. Only Moonlight Warlocks, Great Cloud Dynasty's central officials, and their families can live in that area. The Transcendent Area is located near the Cloud Sky Royal City. The second class is the Aristocratic Area. Only aristocrats can live in that area. The third tier is the Wealthy Area. Although anyone can enter that area to purchase a room, each room requires an astronomical number of magic stones. It's calculated in magic crystals. Those who aren't rich won't be able to afford it. The fourth class is the Civilian Area. I live near the St. Blue Advanced Warlock Academy. Big Brother Zhao Fan, come and play with me when you have time. By the way, Big Brother Zhao Fan, where do you live? Lan Chuxia smiled sweetly at Yang Feng and asked curiously. Yang Feng replied with a smile, I live in the White Oak Villa area in the Wealthy Area. As a quasi-moonlight warlock, although Zhao Fan's net worth is far from that of a true moonlight warlock, and he can't live in the aristocratic area, but he can still buy a small villa in the Wealthy Area. Lan Chuxia's beautiful eyes flashed with excitement, and she said in a sweet voice, the White Oak Villa area, a villa there costs 10,000 magic crystals. Big Brother Zhao Fan, can I go and play there? Yang Feng responded with a smile, of course. As long as I'm here, you're welcome to come and play at any time. After chatting for a while, the huge flying vessel stopped at the dock outside the cloud capital. Yang Feng and Lan Chuxia entered the cloud capital together, and then separated. Yang Feng entered the White Oak Villa complex with the identity of Zhao Fan and started living as Zhao Fan. Yang Feng left some traces outside the cloud capital to forge the illusion that he came from another place, and to test whether the person behind the scenes will risk exposure and act near the cloud capital. A month later, Yang Feng stepped into the cloud capital with his original identity and entered the Transcendent Area. The Hall of Talents. The Hall of Talents is an organization of the Great Cloud Dynasty, which is responsible for entertaining powerhouses who are recruited by the Great Cloud Dynasty but haven't been assigned any duties. Since Yang Feng is a person who has received an imperial edict from the Great Cloud Dynasty's emperor, no one dares to make things difficult for him. Soon, all the formalities were completed, and he entered the Hall of Talents. Yang Feng. A voice sounded in the Hall of Talents. Yang Feng turned around and saw Jiang Lang and a young man walking over. Jiang Lang said with a hearty smile, Yang Feng, let me introduce you. This is my friend Li Yang. Li Yang, this is Yang Feng, who defeated 10 supreme geniuses of the Western world in the Time Sky City. He's my friend. Li Yang responded with a friendly smile, hello, Yang Feng. Yang Feng responded with a smile, hello, Li Yang. Jiang Lang uttered with an unrestrained smile, let's go to the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Pavilion. The girls there are very tasty. As long as you have enough magic crystals, you can even enjoy Moonlight Warlock rank beauties. Yang Feng's thoughts revolved, and he uttered, Moonlight Warlock rank beauties? Are they captives from other planes? Moonlight Warlock ranked powerhouses were Transcendent ranked powerhouses. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, each of them was a powerhouse who could establish a sect. No matter which force they went to, they would be recruited. It was basically impossible for them to sell themselves. Jiang Lang replied, that's right, they are beauties captured from other planes. The Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Pavilion is backed by the Jiang family of the 8 great families. The powerhouses from other planes suppressed by the Jiang family were sent to the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Pavilion. The Jiang family is one of the three tycoons of the Great Cloud Dynasty's slave market. If you want to buy and sell slaves, then go to the Jiang family. The Great Cloud Dynasty prohibited anyone from capturing citizens of the Great Cloud Dynasty and the citizens of countries that have signed an international contract with the Great Cloud Dynasty and turning them into slaves. However, people from other planes were not within the scope of the Great Cloud Dynasty's legal protection. Therefore, the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Pavilion could openly use slaves from other planes to serve people. They could even get their hands on Moonlight Warlock rank beauties. When Yang Feng's group of 3 arrived at the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Pavilion, they asked for a luxurious box and ordered delicacies. After 3 rounds of drinks, Jiang Lang asked, "Yang Feng, which department do you plan to join after being summoned to the capital?" Yang Feng replied, "I don't know much about the details of the Cloud Capital. The Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court is divided into a civil official system and a military official system. Moonlight warlocks like us who are conscripted generally enter the military official system. In the military official system, there are imperial guards, city guards, field troops, border troops, and local troops. At present, the Great Cloud Dynasty's external forces are stable. If you join these systems, you'll just be idling around. It's very difficult to make contributions in exchange for resources. In addition, there are 4 major systems in the military official system, namely the Demon Hunting Division, the Demon Suppression Division, the Barbarian Suppression Division, and the other Plane Development Division. The Demon Hunting Division is responsible for suppressing all kinds of freaks and evil warlock groups in the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Demon Suppression Division is responsible for suppressing the demonic realm and similar places. The Barbarian Suppression Division is responsible for fighting the barbarians who worship the barbarian god. The other Plane Development Division is responsible for going to different planes to suppress the local aborigines and open up new territory for the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Great Cloud Dynasty is extremely rich in resources. However, in order to obtain resources, you have to use contribution points in exchange. These 4 major systems are currently the 4 most dangerous systems in the Great Cloud Dynasty. They are the 4 systems that can obtain great contribution points in the shortest time possible. Yang Feng, which department do you plan to enter? Let's go in together and join forces so that we can look after each other," said Jiang Lang. Chapter 562. Yang Feng carefully weighed his options. The Demon Hunting Division specializes in suppressing the evil warlock groups of the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Great Cloud Dynasty's local evil warlock groups hid themselves very deeply and were extremely strong. The most powerful evil warlock group even has infinity warlocks. Yang Feng has many enemies in the Great Cloud Dynasty. After thinking for a while, he gave up the idea of joining the Demon Hunting Division. The Demon Suppression Division was a place where dangers like the demon domain were suppressed. Yang Feng once went to the demonic realm and used the huge mechanical legion to earn a huge amount of merit points. However, that kind of thing could not happen again. The various demons in the demon domain were not stupid. If Yang Feng uses the mechanical legion to clean up the freaks in the demonic realm many times, the Bright World Warlock rank freaks won't stand idly by. The barbarians suppressed by the Barbarian Suppression Department live in a place called the Desolate Barbarian Domain in the southeast of the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Desolate Barbarian Realm is said to be the place where the 7th Warlock Dynasty's Magic Note Lord and a Warlock Emperor rank existence fought. The laws of heaven and earth of the Desolate Barbarian Realm were shattered by the Magic Note Lord and another unknown existence. The Desolate Savage Domain's heaven and earth laws were broken, and it was a natural anti-devil domain. Elemental warlocks could not withstand a single blow here. Except for the first time, many spells of human warlocks couldn't be used in the Desolate Savage realm. As for large-scale meteorological magic, it was impossible to use it. Barbarians were a race that lived in the wildlands. They possessed both human and barbarian giant bloodlines. They were innate body-forging warlocks, and adult barbarians possessed the terrifying strength of a level 3 body-forging warlock. Barbarians believed in barbarian gods, and barbarians were formidable existences above the Moonlight Warlock rank. In the savage realm, the battle prowess of the barbarian gods was astonishing, far surpassing that of ordinary human warlocks. There have even been infinity warlocks who died in the savage desolation realm. After weighing the pros and cons, Yang Feng decided not to join the barbarian suppression division. His main battle robot's power source was the high-energy crystal in its body, not the heaven and earth yuan qi. In the wildlands, it could display 100% of its combat power. However, the barbarian gods and the barbarian desolation were also as common as clouds. Every year, many human warlocks would perish in the barbarian subduing department. It wasn't a suitable place to grind merit points. The other plane development division was a department responsible for conquering different planes. There was a limit to the number of experts that could be accommodated in different planes. This was the department that Yang Feng was most inclined towards. Yang Feng uttered, "The other plane development division, we can choose different planes to develop and earn merit points." Jiang Lang laughed heartily and said, "Ha, I think so too. Most of the natives in the other planes are extremely stupid. Even if they are suppressed by the world origin, we can still crush them with our knowledge." At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Jiang Lang said, "Come in." A beautiful succubus woman with short purple hair and a sexy figure dressed in black leather clothes exuded a seductive charm. A beautiful woman from the dragon clan with a pair of dragon horns on her head and a dragon's might emanating from her body. A beautiful elf woman exuding a youthful aura walked into the room. As soon as the three beauties entered the room, they smiled sweetly and said, "Ellie, Shauna, Annie, greets the lords." When Yang Feng saw the three beauties enter the room, his eyes lit up. The three beauties each had their own characteristics and extraordinary temperaments. They were only slightly inferior to stunning beauties like Carolina and Cheyenne. Moreover, the three beauties were all Starry Sky Warlock rank beauties, which added to their charm. Although Starry Sky Warlocks were not uncommon in the Great Cloud Dynasty, but their status was far below that of Moonlight Warlocks. However, Starry Sky Warlocks were experts who could dominate a region. Those who could practice cultivation to the Starry Sky Warlock rank were geniuses among human warlocks. The feeling of being intimate with a beautiful Starry Sky Warlock was very different from that of an ordinary human woman. Jiang Lang stared at the beautiful succubus woman and said indifferently, "Yang Feng, these three beauties are in the top 3 of the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Abode's 10 beauties. If I wasn't a Moonlight Warlock, it would be impossible for me to have them accompany me. You can choose one of the 3 of them first." Yang Feng knew that Jiang Lang liked beauties. With a smile, he chose the beautiful dragon Shauna. Jiang Lang was overjoyed and pulled the succubus beauty Ellie into his arms. The beautiful elven Anya came to Li Yang's side. Yang Feng asked curiously, "Aren't there still Moonlight Warlock rank beauties in the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Abode? Why don't you call them over to accompany you?" Jiang Lang said regretfully, "There are only 2 Moonlight Warlock rank beauties in the entire Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Abode. Accompanying them for a day costs 1 million magic crystals. I can't afford to have such beauties." If ordinary humans didn't implant a plain seed like Yang Feng, then they wouldn't need to consume more than 100,000 magic crystals to practice cultivation from the beginning to the junior Starry Sky Warlock rank. For a Moonlight Warlock like Jiang Lang, 1 million magic crystals was not a small number. Although he could take out so many magic crystals, but he felt that it wasn't worth it to spend so many magic crystals to sleep with a Moonlight Warlock. Wine, beauties, and delicious food, Yang Feng's group of 3 chatted about everything under the sun and became closer to each other. During the conversation, Yang Feng discovered that Jiang Lang's good friend Li Yang was extremely knowledgeable and had his own unique views on cultivation. He had traveled to many places. While the 3 were chatting happily, the door suddenly burst open, and countless pieces of wood sputtered in all directions. An unruly and domineering young man of about 16 or 17 years old strode into the room. Behind the youngster were 5 youngsters dressed in gorgeous warlock robes. At a glance, one could see that they had extraordinary backgrounds, as well as 8 great warlock rank guards.
With an unruly and overbearing expression on his face, the young man pointed at Yang Feng's group of three and cursed, "You bastards, you dare to touch my woman? Do you want to die? Get the hell out of here. Otherwise, I'll break your legs, even your fifth limb, and throw you into the palace as eunuchs. Haha. How dare you touch young Master Huang's woman? You shameless be ****. It'll be interesting if these three lowlifes have their fifth limb broken." The five youngsters dressed in gorgeous warlock robes showed cruel smiles. Yang Feng frowned slightly, vaguely feeling that something was wrong. Li Yang suddenly transmitted, "That young man is the 308th Prince of His Majesty. He's unruly and cruel, and has a ruthless personality. His mother's family is the Shinto family of the 8 great families. Every year, many people die at his hands. He's stupid, brainless, and cruel by nature. If he wasn't the son of His Majesty, who knows how many times he would have died. We've been tricked." On average, the emperors of the Great Cloud Dynasty had a lifespan of more than 1,000 years. Coupled with a harem of 3,000, they gave birth to countless princes and princesses. "A bunch of ants, get out of my way." Jiang Lang's eyes flashed fiercely, and he roared, and Moonlight Warlock rank life force erupted in a flash and enveloped the 308th Prince and the other youngsters. The 308th Prince and the other unruly youngsters were all silk pants who relied on elixirs to advance to level 1 Warlock rank. Shrouded by the Moonlight Warlock rank life force, they were instantly forced to kneel on the ground and shiver. Suddenly, the 308th Prince trembled, spat out a mouthful of black blood, widened his eyes, lost all signs of life, and turned into a corpse. Murder! His Highness the Prince was killed. The 3 beautiful women in the arms of Yang Feng's group of 3 screamed in horror. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly. Without any tender feelings for the fairer sex, he slapped the beautiful dragon girl with his palm, and a violent force erupted in a flash and blasted her into countless pieces. Jiang Lang drew his sword and slashed out. Sword rays shone, and sword chi slashed the beautiful succubus as well as the other people in the room into countless pieces. Li Yang pointed with a finger, and wind blades instantly slashed the beautiful elven girl beside him into pieces, and blood sprayed everywhere. Yang Feng waved his hand, and the 7-color skyfire suddenly appeared, swept towards the corpses in the room, and burned them to ashes. Strange marks ejected from the corpses and shot towards Yang Feng in an attempt to mark him. The 7 extinction heavenly flames swept out and burned the incomparably strange symbols into ashes. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with frigid killing intent, and he said coldly, "We've fallen into a trap. Once it's activated, it's bound to be a thunderbolt. Let's scatter and flee. If we stay here, only death awaits us." Even though Yang Feng was a genius of the Battle Demon sect, he couldn't bear the crime of murdering a prince of the Great Cloud Dynasty. Once he was arrested and sent to prison, only death awaited him. Although the Battle Demon sect had great influence in the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court, but the Cloud capital was the territory of the royal family. The Battle Demon sect didn't have many high-ranking officials in the Cloud capital, so it was impossible for them to exonerate Yang Feng and them. Jiang Lang and Li Yang nodded slightly. Without saying anything superfluous, the 3 of them turned into 3 streams of light and flew outside the Myriad Flowers' immortal Jade Palace. "Brazen fellow, you dare to kill His Highness the 308th Prince in the Myriad Flowers' immortal Jade Palace. Surrender. Do you want to be implicated?" A fierce roar rose inside the Myriad Flowers' immortal Jade Palace, and 3 men and 3 women suddenly flew out.
2 men and 2 women blocked in front of Yang Feng, while the other man and woman blocked in front of Jiang Lang and Li Yang. The defensive arrays inside the Myriad Flowers' immortal Jade Palace began to activate, and magic shields suddenly appeared and enveloped the Myriad Flowers' immortal Jade Palace. Chapter 563. A frigid expression on his face, Yang Feng willed, and the white battle demon armor instantly enveloped him. At the same time, he pinched the magic cube in his hand, and the ruler armor immediately covered him. A handsome middle-aged man with a refined temperament looked at Yang Feng and said coldly, "Yang Feng, give up resistance at once. Otherwise, not only will you die, but even the battle demon sect will be implicated. Anyone who stands in my way must die." Eyes flashing fiercely, Yang Feng extracted world force from his body through the world ring, poured it into the level 7 secret treasure lightning all, and threw it. The lightning danced like a silver snake, and the incomparably violent lightning flashed in an instant. It turned into a torrent of lightning and swept towards the middle-aged man in a frenzy. The middle-aged man's face fell, and he silently recited an incantation and pointed with a finger, and countless runes formed a shield in midair. The violent torrent of lightning slammed into the shield in an instant, pierced through the shield, and stabbed into the middle-aged man. Flickering wildly, the Moonlight Warlock turned the Moonlight Warlock into ashes inch by inch. "No! Don't!" The remaining head of the Moonlight Warlock issued a scream of horror and regret, and then turned into ashes by the lightning. "You dare to kill Jiang Lai, I won't let you off. You bastard, go to hell." Eyes shot with blood, a beautiful female Moonlight Warlock roared wildly and pointed at Yang Feng with the level 6 secret treasure elemental scepter in her hand. Black as ink, soul disperser wind that can directly attack the soul of warlocks suddenly appeared and blew towards Yang Feng in a black torrent. The scattered soul wind was a very strange hurricane in the netherworld. Even if it was a Moonlight Warlock, if they didn't cultivate a special secret method, then no matter how tyrannical their fleshly body was, they would be seriously injured or even killed by the scattered soul wind. If a barbarian powerhouse is blown by the soul disperser wind because they don't cultivate a special soul secret method, then even if they are a glorious sun warlock, their soul will be shaken, and they will be unable to move, and then they will be besieged. Since that's the case, I'll send you down to accompany him so that your journey to the netherworld will be smoother. There's no need to thank me. Instead of retreating, Yang Feng's figure shook, and he rushed into the soul-scattering ghost wind. Whirlpools suddenly appeared around him, devoured the soul-scattering ghost wind, and sent it into the small world inside him. Countless devourers suddenly flew out, pounced on the scattered soul's ghost wind, and devoured it. Yang Feng appeared in front of the beautiful warlock in an instant and slammed a primal chaos annihilation fist into the beautiful warlock, and primal chaos annihilation force erupted and poured into the beautiful warlock. Impossible! How could you ignore the soul-crusher ghostly wind? Impossible! A look of incredulity on her face, the beautiful warlock screamed frantically, and her body collapsed inch by inch and turned into dust. Only the moonlight core remained. As if cutting through the void, a spear as swift as a shooting star appeared behind Yang Feng while he was killing the beautiful warlock. The other warlock turned into a 100-meter-tall frost giant, clenched his fists, and hammered hard. Boundless ice force gushed out in an instant and, as if a world of ice and snow, crushed towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled coldly, silently recited an incantation, blurred into motion, and stepped into the alternate space. Although it looks like he is still in the main world, but in fact, he is no longer in this space. A spatial ripple flickered, and the beautiful warlock with the spear secret treasure was strangely teleported to the frost giant's fist. No! No! Save her! The frost giant's face twisted, and he screamed miserably and tried to pull back his fist. But the huge fist still slammed into the beautiful warlock under the horrified gaze of the beautiful warlock. The berserk cold air instantly entered the beautiful warlock and froze her into an ice sculpture. Then, a berserk force gushed out and shattered the beautiful warlock into countless ice fragments that splashed about. You bastard, you killed the person you love the most with your own hands. What a heinous crime. Let me send you on your way. Yang Feng barked, cast blink, appeared on the head of the frost giant, and sent a fist barreling towards the frost giant's head. Little May, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The frost giant originally wanted to resist. But after hearing Yang Feng's words, a look of despair appeared on his face, and he gave up resisting. He let Yang Feng smash his head into pieces and dig out his moonlight core. After Yang Feng killed the frost giant, a spatial fluctuation enveloped him, and he appeared behind the moonlight warlock fighting Jiang Lang in an instant. He pointed with a finger, and 9 revolutions divine wind erupted and chopped the lower half of the moonlight warlock's body into countless pieces. Then, he extended his hand, and countless runes shot out of his hand, stabbed into the moonlight warlock's head, sealed it, and threw it into an empty dimensional badge. As long as the moonlight warlocks don't cast spatial interference spells, Yang Feng can use the law of space to carry out all kinds of incredible battles. The beautiful moonlight warlock retreated briskly and shouted, "I surrender, don't kill me. I'm willing to surrender. I'm just one of the elders recruited by the Jiang family. I'm not a member of the Jiang family. Spare my life. I can let you set up a soul restriction, but don't kill me." Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and a true God Empyrean imprint suddenly flew out. Black rune chains flew out of the true God Empyrean imprint and stabbed towards the beautiful warlock. "Give up resisting and let me set up a restriction. Otherwise, you'll die." There was a flash of struggle in the beautiful moonlight warlock's eyes, and then she finally sighed faintly and gave up resisting. She let the rune chains stab into her body and entangle her soul. Li Yang's eyes shimmered with enigmatic light, so strong. In such a short period of time, he killed 4 moonlight warlocks. That's really strong. As expected of the peerless genius who suppressed the Western world's 10 supreme geniuses in the Time Sky City. Li Yang has an extraordinary background, and ordinary moonlight warlocks are not his opponent. But when besieged by 4 moonlight warlocks, he can only choose to escape. Yet Yang Feng killed 4 moonlight warlocks in such a short period of time. This is simply shocking. Break! Jiang Lang looked at the magic barrier covering the entire Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace and bellowed. A 100-meter-long sword Qi soared into the sky and slashed at the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace's barrier, forcibly splitting it apart. Yang Feng's group of 3 blurred into motion, turned into streams of light, and flew out of the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace. This Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace dares to plot against us. There's no need for it to exist. Li Yang glanced at the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace, and killing intent streaked past his eyes. He took out a spherical secret treasure and threw it towards the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace. As soon as the spherical secret treasure hit the ground, it suddenly exploded and turned into violent flames that spread wildly inside the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace. In the wake of the flames, everything was burned to ashes. Screams came from the depths of the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace. "Brazen maniac, you dare commit murder in the Cloud Capital. Why don't you surrender?" Outside the Myriad Flowers Immortal Jade Palace, 100 warlocks dressed in pure white demon hunting division robes appeared. Each warlock exudes Starry Sky Warlock rank aura or above, and the 10 people in the lead are all moonlight warlocks. This terrifying force can even suppress a glorious sun warlock rank freak. Demon hunting division. Sure enough, as I expected, it's all linked together. This is a rhythm that wants to kill us. If that's the case, then all of you can go to hell. Mechanical Legion summon. Killing intent flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and the space around him rippled, and 200,000 battle robots suddenly flew out from the small world inside him and rushed towards the 100 Demon Hunting Division warlocks. A dense rain of light barreled towards the 100 Demon Hunting Division warlocks, and magic shields suddenly appeared around them. When the rain of light slammed into the Demon Hunting Division warlocks, the magic shields shattered one after another, and the rain of light engulfed 3 Starry Sky warlocks. All of a sudden, countless Starry Sky Rippers flew out at Mach 10 speed, rushed into the midst of the Demon Hunting Division's warlocks, and engaged them in a fierce fight. Virtually in an instant, Yang Feng's figure blurred, and he disappeared from the battlefield. Jiang Lang's figure fluttered, and he fled towards the north. Li Yang slammed into the wall of an ordinary residence, cast a spell, and fled elsewhere. Besieged by the 200,000 battle robots, the Demon Hunting Division's experts fell one after another. The 10 Moonlight Warlocks were also besieged by the battle robots, unable to extricate themselves and pursue Yang Feng. In a dark alley, a handsome middle-aged man with white hair walked over unhurriedly with his hands behind his back, and intermediate Glorious Sun Warlock rank fluctuations of power slowly spread from him. Yang Feng, I'm really surprised that you can do this. As expected of a peerless genius who defeated 10 supreme geniuses from the Western world in one fell swoop in the Time Sky City. If I hadn't come in person, I'm afraid that you would have escaped. Are you going to surrender, or do you want me to take action? If I do, you're dead. Chapter 564. Glorious Sun Warlock. You're the bureau chief of the Demon Hunting Division. Who was the one who set up this trap to trick us? What does he want to do? Even if we're going to die, we should know why. The shadow twisted and formed Yang Feng's true body, who stared at the unfamiliar Glorious Sun Warlock with a vigilant expression and uttered coldly. The Demon Hunting Division has a division chief, 4 deputy division chiefs, 36 bureau chiefs, and 72 deputy bureau chiefs. The division chief is an Infinity Warlock and the 4 deputy bureau chiefs are Bright World Warlocks. The 36 bureau chiefs are Glorious Sun Warlocks and the 72 deputy bureau chiefs are Moonlight Warlocks. The power of the Demon Hunting Division alone is comparable to that of the Battle Demon sect. This is the terror of the Great Cloud Dynasty. Exuding advanced Glorious Sun Warlock rank might, the Demon Hunting Division bureau chief took a step forward calmly and uttered flatly, "No one set up a trap. You dared to kill His Highness the Prince. If you don't surrender immediately, only death will await you. This is the Cloud Capital. Even an Infinity Warlock can't escape from the Cloud Capital. You should give up and surrender." Before the words of the Demon Hunting Division's bureau chief fell, he suddenly waved his hand, and the level 7 secret treasure locked god chain suddenly flew out of his hand, turned into countless chains, and shot towards Yang Feng. The level 7 secret treasure locked god chain is a standard secret treasure equipped by the bureau chief of the Demon Hunting Division. Although it isn't as powerful as some special level 7 secret treasures, but it is still far more powerful than level 6 secret treasures. Many Glorious Sun Warlock rank monsters were captured by the Demon Hunting Division bureau chief and thrown into the dark prison, where they were reduced to materials for various taboo experiments. The Great Cloud Dynasty has clearly stipulated that no one is allowed to use citizens as materials for warlock experiments. However, the slaves captured from other planes and the evil warlocks who had been deprived of all human rights were not included in this list. The dark prison is a place where many evil warlocks turn pale at the mention of it. Once evil warlocks are captured and thrown into the dark prison, they will suffer a fate worse than death. If they are unwilling to be lackeys of the Great Cloud Dynasty, they will be reduced to experimental materials. Yang Feng's figure abruptly retreated briskly, before crashing into a room next to him. A moonlight core wrapped in a part of the ruler armor suddenly ejected from Yang Feng's ruler armor, expanded into a robot exuding Yang Feng's aura, and rushed towards the god-lock chains. When the chains stabbed into the robot, countless runes filled the robot's body and sealed the moonlight core inside the robot, making it motionless at once. The chief of the Demon Hunting Division sighed in admiration. What an exquisite mechanical marionette. It carries your soul aura and can even deceive the divine chains. How impressive! Unfortunately, no matter how hard you struggled, it was useless. Even the Moonlight's 7 stars can't escape from my hands. The bureau chief of the Demon Hunting Division is called Dong Rui. From a humble background, he climbed his way up from a primary warlock academy step by step. After countless competitions, he joined the Great Cloud Dynasty's Demon Hunting Division, hunted countless freaks, and obtained countless resources. Only then did he cultivate to the Glorious Sun Warlock realm. Dong Rui only needs to use the godlock chains to suppress and seal an ordinary junior Glorious Sun Warlock rank powerhouse. Yet Yang Feng was able to escape. He couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Shit! Suddenly, Dong Rui's expression changed greatly. He could sense a terrifying energy fluctuation coming from the commoner's room, as well as traces of strange spatial fluctuations. His figure flashed, and he directly rushed towards the commoner's room. The moment before Dong Rui entered the room, Yang Feng disappeared into a warp gate. The moment Yang Feng entered the warp gate that could cross planes, the self-destruct mechanism activated. In an instant, endless light and heat filled the room with a large number of parts and debris, bombarding Dong Rui crazily. A powerful life force field appeared around Dong Rui. The terrifying explosion that could seriously injure ordinary moonlight warlocks was blocked by the life force field, leaving Dong Rui unharmed. Do you think you can escape from me like this? How naive! There was a flash of anger in Dong Rui's eyes, and he waved his hand, and an exquisite astral gate suddenly flew out and landed on the ground. The astral gate flashed, and a huge, twisted whirlpool appeared in the center of the astral gate. Dong Rui stretched out a hand and pierced it into the astral gate. In the void of the astral boundary, a hand strangely appeared, and a huge eye suddenly opened in the center of the hand. The eye turned and looked towards the depths of the astral boundary, as if it could see through countless worlds, and locked on to the plane Yang Feng escaped to. Found you. A hair-raising voice sounded beside Yang Feng, and a strange feeling of being spied on welled up inside him, and he felt like he was shrouded in a cold aura. In the next moment, the exquisite astral gate exploded in an instant, and the violent backlash force forcibly severed Dong Rui's right hand, causing it to fall into the astral boundary. It wasn't that simple to open a gate leading to the astral boundary. Countless resources had to be spent to build a real astral gate. The simple astral gate was a secret treasure that the Demon Hunting Division specially refined to track down enemies who escaped into the astral boundary. It couldn't be maintained for a long time. Dong Rui frowned and said unhurriedly, "An unknown world, he escaped to an unknown world. What kind of treasure is it to be so heaven-defying that it can allow him to escape from the cloud capital to another plane?" The warp gate was the crystallization of Shizu technology, a black technology among black technology. Once activated, it could easily cross endless distances and teleport to another plane. It was even more heaven-defying than the planar passageways leading to other planes in the Zhangji plane. A crafty rabbit has 3 burrows. When Yang Feng acted in the cloud capital as Zhao Fan, he secretly set up warp gates in several places, which saved his life at the most critical time. Dong Rui's heart stirred, and his eyes shimmered with greed. The coordinates of an unknown world, should I report it, or keep it for myself? From a humble warlock with no background, Dong Rui promoted to an advanced glorious sun warlock step by step. He had to search for the huge amount of resources by himself. He was well aware of the pain of practicing cultivation without resources. If he hadn't obtained the treasures of many evil warlocks he killed, he wouldn't have been able to practice cultivation until the glorious sun warlock realm. It was the coordinates of an unknown world. Just this coordinate alone could fetch a sky-high price. If he could conquer that world and take full control of it, then even if it was a grade 9 plane, it would be of great value. Dong Rui, is it settled? A flat voice sounded in Dong Rui's ears. Dong Rui suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, and then said respectfully, "Deputy Division Chief Liu, Yang Feng has escaped to an unknown plane with unknown coordinates using an unknown secret treasure. These are the coordinates of the plane." Lu Xuanzhen was one of the 4 Deputy Division Chiefs of the Demon Hunting Division. As a Bright World Warlock rank powerhouse, he was ruthless and merciless. The number of evil warlocks who died at his hands was uncountable. Even many of the people in the Demon Hunting Division who had gone on missions with him had disappeared. None of the people who could reach a high position in the Demon Hunting Division were kind-hearted and soft-hearted. Those people died early in confrontations with evil warlocks. When Dong Rui saw Lu Xuanzhen come in person, he no longer dared to conceal anything, and reported everything honestly. He didn't even dare to conceal the coordinates of the plane, for fear that he would become a victim of a mission. What secret treasure did he use? The space around Dong Rui rippled, and a handsome young man dressed in casual clothes walked out of the space and asked majestically. The secret treasure exploded, leaving only these remains. Dong Rui spread the fingers of a hand, and a wreckage formed from the top-grade warp gate appeared in his hand. Originally, Dong Rui wanted to study the wreckage of the top-grade warp gate. If he could restore it, it would be a life-saving secret treasure that surpassed countless secret treasures. But now that Lu Xuanzhen appeared, he could only offer it respectfully, not daring to bargain. Greater restoration. Lu Xuanzhen silently recited an incantation and pointed at the wreckage of the top-grade warp gate, and green magic light enveloped the top-grade warp gate. The wreckage suddenly gathered and reformed into the top-grade warp gate. Dong Rui hurriedly exclaimed in admiration, "Deputy Division Chief Lu, you're really remarkable. To be able to practice greater restoration to this point, that's really amazing." For children from humble backgrounds to reach the top, they had to put in more than 100 times the effort than children from large sections. Besides, they had to not only practice cultivation, but also conduct themselves. To be able to become one of the 36 bureau chiefs of the Demon Hunting Division, Dong Rui paid an unimaginable price. It's just a piece of trash that looks impressive. After all, greater restoration isn't the time reversal recorded in the time text. Lu Xuanzhen sighed faintly and waved his hand, and the top-grade warp gate collapsed and turned into countless wreckage that scattered on the ground again. The Time Lord's most powerful secret method is time reversal. No matter how serious his injuries are, he can use time reversal to reverse time and restore himself to his strongest state. This was the strongest secret technique that allowed him to dominate the era of the ancient gods, where the strong were as numerous as clouds. Of course, if it's an attack from a Warlock Emperor rank powerhouse, then even time reversal can't be completely immune. Even the Time Lord can't cure this kind of law injury. However, in battle, the time reversal technique was definitely a heaven-defying technique. Apart from the Lord of Time, no one else had managed to cultivate this spell. Chapter 565. If the Time Lord uses time reversal, then even if an Empyrean-grade secret treasure is severely damaged, it can reverse time and restore it to its peak. Of course, the longer time reversal goes back in time, the more power it consumes. Even the Time Master could only return an Emperor-grade secret treasure to the state it was in 10 minutes ago at best. Lu Xuanzhen's Great Restoration can quickly restore the remains of level 4 secret treasures into level 4 secret treasures. But it has little effect on Yang Feng's top-grade warp gate. It can only restore a shell, which is of no use. Lu Xuanzhen uttered indifferently, "Yang Feng has great potential. Dong Rui, I want you to bring back his soul core at all costs." Dong Rui's heart shook, and he responded respectfully, "Yes. Deputy Division Chief Lu, I will take people to that plane and bring back Yang Feng's soul core." Lu Xuanzhen nodded, and then his figure blurred and disappeared. After Lu Xuanzhen disappeared, a gloomy shade streaked past Dong Rui's eyes, and his expression turned gloomy, and resentment streaked past his eyes. Coming from a humble background, Dong Rui climbed to the position of Demon Hunting Division Bureau Chief step by step. He has his own understanding of seeking fortune and avoiding calamity. Yang Feng is not only the most outstanding supreme genius of the Battle Demon sect, but also possesses a top-grade warp gate and the coordinates of an unknown plane. Dong Rui doesn't want to provoke such a peerless genius. When Dong Rui dealt with Yang Feng, he only used the capture secret treasure god lock chain. He didn't use his strongest offensive secret treasure because he didn't want to kill anyone. Now that Lu Xuanzhen is forcing Dong Rui to go to another plane to hunt Yang Feng, Dong Rui is very dissatisfied. If it were up to him, he would never be willing to take on such a task. The Andrak plane, in an underground secret room. Yang Feng silently recited an incantation and pointed with a finger, and the true god Empyrean imprint suddenly flew out. Countless black rune chains flew out of the true god Empyrean imprint and stabbed into his body. A blurry, distorted shadow was forcibly pulled out of Yang Feng's body by the rune chains and absorbed into the true god Empyrean imprint. As soon as the shadow was pulled out, Yang Feng felt his body loosen, and the feeling of being spied on disappeared. With a thought from Yang Feng, countless devourers emerged from the small world inside him, pounced on him, and looked for all kinds of strange runes. The secret techniques of warlocks were changing with each passing day, and they were extremely strange. Although Yang Feng has mastered the time text, the transcendent text, and the taboo text, 3 Empyrean grade texts, but he doesn't dare to be careless. The three great grimoires each had their own mysteries. When cultivated to the peak, they would all possess unfathomable power. However, it was also a fact that some of the secret techniques in the three great grimoires were not as exquisite and strange as modern secret techniques. After all, many of the secret methods of modern warlocks were secret methods created by countless geniuses after meticulously studying the 8 great warlock texts as well as countless research. The dense swarm of devourers covered Yang Feng's body. Suddenly, the side of his abdomen sucked hard, absorbed the transparent light and digested it. Yang Feng suddenly felt a burst of comfort, the vague premonition of danger suddenly disappeared. There was a flash of apprehension in Yang Feng's eyes. The Demon Hunting Division's warlocks are really fearsome, proficient in countless secret methods. If I wasn't careful enough, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to escape from the Demon Hunting Division's bureau chief.
Yang Feng used the transcendent text as a foundation, coupled with the battle demon sect's countless materials as well as the true God Empyrean imprint developed by Shizu technology, yet he still couldn't completely dispel Dong Rui's secret method. This shows how powerful Dong Rui is. Once he cleaned up the curse inside him, Yang Feng immediately left the cave. Before leaving, he used a spell to erase his aura and all traces of himself. Is this the suppression of the plane? If I don't use the power of the small world inside me, I can only display pinnacle Starry Sky Warlock rank strength at most. Riding a tamed demonic leopard, Yang Feng quietly sensed the changes in his body while walking on the road leading to the Narcissus Federation. In addition to the 36 primary material planes, as long as an expert surpassing the Starry Sky Warlock rank entered a plane, they would be suppressed by the plane origin will, and their strength would be reduced. Take the Infernal Plane for example. Each of the 9 Fiend Grand Dukes is an Infinity Warlock rank powerhouse. However, if a Warlock Monarch rank powerhouse enters the plane and fights the 9 Fiend Grand Dukes, they will basically lose. The Tsungji Plane's Great Cloud Dynasty's Other Plane Development Division is a department specialized in suppressing other plane riots and attacking other planes. Although the Great Cloud Dynasty's warlocks are extremely powerful, but they have also repeatedly run into obstacles in some planes, and are utterly defeated by the aboriginals of lower planes. This is because the Tsungji Plane's warlocks are suppressed in lower planes, unable to exert their full strength. The limit of this plane is the Glorious Sun Warlock rank. After a period of time, I can still restore my Moonlight Warlock rank strength. In the eras of the Tsungji Plane's 8 Warlock dynasties, countless planes have been conquered by human warlocks. Human warlocks have detailed records on how to carry out wars on other planes. There are several ways to break the suppression of a plane origin will. The first is to defeat the plane origin will with absolute power and severely injure the plane origin will, making it no longer able to interfere with the actions of human warlocks. The second is to use a secret treasure to conceal your soul aura, disguise yourself as an aboriginal of the plane, and deceive the plane origin will. The third is to split off a part of your soul, throw it into this world, and integrate it with a baby of this world, which is equivalent to being reborn. In this way, you will no longer be suppressed by the plane origin will. The fourth is to take the initiative to look for the plane origin will and use a spell to seal a part of the plane origin will into your body. In this way, you will be equivalent to an aboriginal of the plane, and can completely unseal your power. Of course, the Andrak plane is a grade 6 plane, and the limit of power it can accommodate is the Glorious Sun Warlock rank. If a Bright World Warlock unseals all of their power in the Andrak plane, they will immediately be rejected by the plane and forced out.
Even if it is an aboriginal of the plane, once they break through to the Bright World Warlock realm, they will be directly expelled from the Andrak plane. Wearing a planar origin will scanner that looks like a string of wooden beads, Yang Feng scanned the power of the Andrak plane and began to analyze the plane origin will. The robots of blasphemy inside Yang Feng's clothes also began to operate, distorting and fine-tuning his soul aura and transforming it into an aboriginal of the Andrak plane. Countless data flowed in Yang Feng's eyes as he quietly read the information Katrina gave him. In the Andrak plane, there are 7 gods, namely the goddess of ice, the god of fire, the god of war, the god of death, the goddess of love, the god of justice, and the god of murder. The 7 gods control the Ice Blue State, the Scarlet Flame State, the Norton State, the Gautama Kingdom, the Narcissus Federation, the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom, and the Glun State. Among the 7 gods, the goddess of love, the god of justice, and the god of murder are human gods. Among them, the goddess of love and the god of justice are allies. The god of murder is a neutral god. As a result, the Narcissus Federation and the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom are allies. When Katrina sneaked into this world, she joined the Narcissus Federation and established a huge force there. On the main road, Yang Feng suddenly turned his head and looked to the left. In the distance, there were 7 tall and burly figures. Their upper bodies were covered with a layer of black stratum corneum, and their faces were ferocious as if they were a combination of a devil and a dog. They were holding pitch-black machetes and were fighting crazily with more than 30 human powerhouses. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with curiosity, and he observed carefully, are these the death warriors of the Gautama Kingdom? The Gautama Kingdom's death god warriors didn't know any magic, and the pitch-black scimitars were extremely strange. Once the scimitars cut the skin, a black gas would directly enter the human expert's body and corrode the human expert, turning them into blackened corpses that fell to the ground. The more than 30 human experts are shrouded in green light similar to Qi and Warlock life force, strengthening their physique. They can barely fight the 7 death warriors of the Gautama Kingdom. Yang Feng glanced at the weapons in the hands of the death warriors, and his eyes lit up and flashed with excitement. The law of death. The weapons in the hands of the death warriors contain a trace of the law of death. No, it's not the law of death, but the power of death. Yang Feng's god clone on the Feisua plane controls the law of shadows and the law of massacre. He covets the law of death and the law of war. The law of death is far superior to the law of shadows in terms of grade and potential. If Yang Feng can kill the god of death and seize his godhead, then his avatar on the Feisua plane will be able to quickly promote to a weak divine force rank god. Yang Feng glanced at the more than 30 human experts and shook his head. In contrast, the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method is far inferior in terms of fighting. The Green Flower Immortal Spirit method is a secret method that the goddess of love cultivated at the time, which can enable people to practice cultivation until the demigod realm. The Green Flower Immortal Spirit method is divided into 15 levels. The more than 30 human experts have cultivated to the 11th level at most. They are not the opponents of the Death Warriors. With a thought, the life force inside Yang Feng revolved, and he successfully cultivated the first level of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method in a breath of time. At the same time, he walked towards the Death Warriors. With every step Yang Feng took, the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method broke through a level. When he took the 12th step, he cultivated the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method to the 12th level, the pinnacle Great Warlock realm. With a wave of Yang Feng's hand, ribbons formed from green light suddenly shot out and wrapped around a death warrior. The countless ribbons wrapped around the death god warrior's saber and pierced it into its own body. A stream of death energy rushed into the death god warrior, causing the death god warrior to decay and turn into a pile of dust. Chapter 566. With Yang Feng's rich combat experience, the green ribbons wrapped around the death warriors, turned the blades in their hands, and slashed at them. Streams of black energy rushed out and corroded the death god warriors, turning them into piles of dust. With the 12th level of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method coupled with Yang Feng's terrifying combat experience, the death warriors couldn't contend against him. A burly Western man with blonde hair and blue eyes came up to Yang Feng and said gratefully, "Hello, I am Beta. Thank you for your help. Our master invites you to meet him." The remaining 20+ guards also looked gratefully at Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled and walked towards the carriage pulled by 4 horses with extraordinary life-form bloodline. When he boarded the extremely spacious and bright luxurious carriage the size of an RV on Earth, Yang Feng saw a handsome young man with snow-white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes sitting in the luxurious carriage. Next to the handsome young man sat a pair of blonde, blue-eyed, short-haired twin girls. The twin girls looked at the handsome young man with affection in their eyes. Whether it was the handsome young man or the twin girls, they exuded an extraordinary temperament and charm. If they could come to Earth, they would easily become superstar-like idols. A peculiar glint streaked past Yang Feng's eyes. What a handsome young man. The green flower immortal spirit method is indeed a top-notch secret method for beautifying one's appearance. The green flower immortal spirit method wasn't outstanding in terms of combat, and could even be described as ordinary and mediocre. Warlocks who cultivated the secret method Black Dragon Morph could easily defeat warlocks who cultivated the green flower immortal spirit method. However, people who cultivated the green flower immortal spirit method would become more and more beautiful. The handsome young man asked coldly in an aloof tone, "Who are you?" Yang Feng frowned slightly and said rudely, "I am Ol." The pretty face of one of the twin girls changed slightly, and she barked, "How dare you? The one in front of you is young Master Bardini, the 6th successor of the Narcissus family. You lowly commoner, how dare you speak to young Master in such a tone? Do you want to die?" The Narcissus family? A contemplative look streaked past Yang Feng's eyes. The Narcissus family was the family from which the goddess of love came. After the goddess of love ascended to godhood 10,000 years ago, she became the #1 family in the Narcissus Federation. The successive presidents of the Narcissus Federation came from the Narcissus family. As the 6th successor of the Narcissus family, it was only natural for Bardini to be arrogant. Another beautiful girl barked, "Why aren't you kneeling down and apologizing to young Master Bardini?" Bardini looked at Yang with an arrogant look on his face. In his eyes, other than the nobles, no one else was worthy of his attention. Even though he was saved by Yang Feng, he still felt that it was a matter of course and didn't feel the slightest bit of gratitude. Yang Feng smiled, then glared and operated the green flower immortal spirit method, and great warlock rank might permeated the carriage. The 2 beautiful twin girls were both ordinary people. Under the terrifying great warlock might, their pretty faces paled, their delicate bodies trembled, and fear streaked past their eyes. "Legend rank expert, you are a legend rank expert." Bardini's eyes lit up, and his attitude became enthusiastic, saying, "I'm sorry, sir, I was a little rude before. There weren't many legend rank experts in the Narcissus Federation, less than 20. Each of them was the backbone of the Narcissus Federation. There were only 3 legend rank experts guarding the Narcissus family. As for demigod rank experts, there was only one in the entire Narcissus Federation." Even Bardini had to take a legend rank expert seriously, not daring to offend him at will. Although he had a distinguished identity, but a legend rank expert could kill him as easily as killing a chicken. Moreover, even if a legend rank expert killed him, as long as they hid in the god of murder's Glun state or other race states, the Narcissus Federation wouldn't be able to do anything. Bardini was only the 6th-in-line successor of the Narcissus family. If he wanted to become the 1st-in-line successor of the Narcissus family, the support of a legend rank expert would be extremely important. Yang Feng said with a forthright smile, "Recently, the state of monsters has been very active in the Narcissus Federation. I plan to join the Inquisition, tear those monsters to pieces, and then find a way to become one of the Inquisition's big 3. When he heard this, Bardini's complexion changed dramatically, and he became even more respectful. Yet he didn't dare to get close to Yang Feng. The Inquisition was the most notorious organization of the Church of the Goddess of Love. Every year, the number of heretics taken away by the Inquisition and burned to death was not small. The Inquisition's fierce reputation could make children cry. Under Katrina's secret instigation, the Ice Blue State, the Scarlet Flame State, the Norton State, and the Narcissus Federation were like fire and water. Many experts of the 3 states sneaked into the Narcissus Federation and set off a lot of waves. The Church of the Goddess of Love fought countless battles with the experts of the three states, and even lost 3 legend rank experts. The Inquisition also lost many experts. Under such circumstances, if Yang Feng joined the Inquisition, he would definitely be put in an important position. However, the big three of the Inquisition were fierce among fierce. If Bardini got too close to Yang Feng and was implicated, it would be troublesome. The Holy Fairy City was the capital of the Narcissus Federation. At the time, the Goddess of Love ascended to godhood in one fell swoop in the Holy Fairy City and became a true god. It was 3,000 years ago that the Goddess of Love established her own divine country and stabilized her position and rule. Although the Goddess of Love was only a feeble divine force rank god, but once she had a divine country, then even if a weak divine force rank god dared to fight her alone, they would be suppressed by her. Before having a divine country, the Goddess of Love might still be killed by a weak divine force rank god. After having a divine country, as long as she didn't leave it, she was an invincible existence in the Andrak plane. The humans of this world are so good-looking. Or is this the effect of the green flower immortal spirit method? As soon as he entered the Holy Fairy City, Yang Feng looked around and found that most of the humans in the Holy Fairy City were handsome men and beautiful women. Yang Feng's transformation into Ol was tall and handsome. But in the Holy Fairy City, he looked very ordinary. Yang Feng admired the scenery of the Holy Fairy City a little, and then strode straight towards the Inquisition. The Inquisition of the Church of the Goddess of Love was located in a relatively remote place to the west of the Holy Fairy City. The Inquisition was notorious. The vicinity of the Inquisition was extremely desolate. No merchants dared to do business in the vicinity. Recently, the Inquisition fought countless battles with the experts of the three states and lost many experts. Therefore, it openly recruited experts from the Narcissus Federation. Although the Inquisition was notorious, but its benefits were extremely good. Moreover, after joining the Inquisition, one could obtain judicial immunity. This immediately attracted countless experts from the Narcissus Federation. When Yang Feng arrived at the recruitment site, he saw more than 1,000 experts from all walks of life gathered there to be screened. Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method 5th Level. Next. A handsome ecclesiastical court powerhouse with a murderous aura between his brows indifferently looked at the experts from the Narcissus Federation and said coldly. One after another, the experts from the Narcissus Federation operated their cultivation methods, and green light appeared on their bodies. In the Narcissus Federation, the most powerful cultivation method was the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method. The first 10 levels of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method were very easy to obtain. It could allow people to practice cultivation until the Junior Great Warlock realm. As for the last 5 levels, they were firmly in the hands of the Narcissus Federation. Only by joining the Inquisition and serving the greater aristocrats of the Narcissus Federation could they obtain them. Originally, there were other secret methods in the Narcissus Federation, but most of them were incomplete and could not be practiced until the Great Warlock realm. Moreover, the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method was widely available, which was why everyone in the Narcissus Federation cultivated the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method. Very few people practiced other cultivation methods. A short-haired woman with several scars on her face, a voluptuous and sexy figure, and a callous expression on her face stepped forward and erupted with rich green light with 9 distinct layers of light. The eyes of the expert from the Inquisition flickered with emotion. The Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method 9th Level. You're pretty good. What's your name? The short-haired woman replied coldly, I am Lily. Amazing, to be able to cultivate the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method to the 9th level. So young, she's really talented. When the many experts from the Narcissus Federation saw this scene, their eyes flashed with jealousy and envy. Most of the people present had only cultivated the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method to the 4th or 5th level, which was equivalent to the level 2 Warlock rank. The 9th level of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit Method was equivalent to a pinnacle level 3 Warlock rank powerhouse. Even in the Inquisition, they would be regarded as experts. The expert from the Inquisition said indifferently, next. Yang Feng took a step forward, and rich green light with 10 distinct layers of light erupted from him. Legend rank. Legend rank powerhouse. This is a legend rank powerhouse. When the many experts from the Narcissus Federation saw this scene, they were in an uproar at once. Everyone looked at Yang Feng with excitement and shock in their eyes. There were less than 20 legend rank powerhouses in the Narcissus Federation, each of whom was a bigwig. It was very difficult for ordinary people to meet them. Now that there was a legend rank powerhouse next to them, it naturally caused a huge sensation. Chapter 567. The countenance of the Inquisition powerhouse changed. Legend rank powerhouse. The Inquisition of the Church of the Goddess of Love is full of experts, but there are no more than 5 legend rank powerhouses. Now that such a powerhouse wants to join the Inquisition, the Inquisition's powerhouse is at a loss as to what to do. Legend-ranked powerhouses are first-class powerhouses in the Narcissus Federation. If legend-ranked powerhouses want to join the Inquisition, they basically have to negotiate with the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love or the Inquisition's 3 bigwigs. This is the first time that he has seen a legend-ranked powerhouse voluntarily join the Inquisition. I am Canis. What's your name? Why haven't I seen you before? A tall, blonde, handsome young man dressed in a black robe appeared here at some point in time. He stared at Yang Feng with enigmatic light in his eyes and spoke with a smile. The complexion of the Inquisition's powerhouse changed dramatically, and he bowed respectfully. Greetings, Sir Judge. As if he didn't hear anything, Canis's gaze fell on Yang Feng, full of curiosity. With a rude expression on his face, Yang Feng licked his lips and perfectly played the role of a powerful and rude legend-rank powerhouse. My name is Ol. After 30 years of bitter cultivation on the Borong Mountain, I only managed to cultivate the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method to the 10th level. I heard that by joining the Inquisition, I can bully people, get higher-level secret methods, and get more cultivation resources. That's why I came. I may not be good at other things, but I'm good at killing people. Yang Feng is aware that the Demon Hunting Division has locked onto this plane. The forces in the Great Cloud Dynasty that want to kill him are bound to send countless experts to kill him at all costs. Only by joining the Inquisition can he use the power of the Inquisition to collect the resources Yang Feng needs and wait for an opportunity to use the power of the Andrak plane to contend against the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Great Cloud Dynasty's human warlocks are indeed extremely powerful. The power of the Demon Hunting Division is enough to destroy the resistance of the Andrak plane. But in the Andrak plane, the Tsangji plane's human warlocks will be suppressed. Even if an Infinity Warlock comes here, they will be suppressed to the Glorious Sun Warlock rank. In this plane, even if an Infinity Warlock came, Yang Feng would dare to kill the other party. However, Warlock's secret methods were extremely strange. In order to prevent others from seeing through him, Yang Feng could only disguise himself as a boorish, greedy and lustful person. A strange light flashed in Canis' eyes, and he said with an appreciative smile, "Good, Ol. We, the Inquisition, need someone like you. As long as you work for the religious court of Inquisition, you can have anything you want. I just received a big mission. All of you are now under my command. As long as you perform well, beauties, money, power, whatever you want, it won't be a problem." Canis tossed a thin secret book flying towards Yang Feng. This is the 11th level secret method of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method. When Yang Feng received the secret manual, he immediately revealed a look of joy and said, "Thank you, sir." The more than 1,000 powerhouses from the Narcissus Federation looked at the secret book in Yang Feng's hand with bloodshot eyes and envy. Bewitched by the glory, splendor, wealth and rank promised by Canis, they were quickly integrated by him and accepted as his subordinates. The legend rank expert Yang Feng was also appointed as a minor leader. Lily was also appointed as a minor leader. A few days later, in front of a vast aristocratic manor, Canis glanced at the aristocratic manor and ordered coldly, "Kill your way in and kill everyone. You can loot the property inside." The more than 1,000 slayers from the Narcissus Federation suddenly had bloodshot eyes, revealing a trace of excitement as they madly rushed towards the aristocrat's manor. As soon as the slayers broke into the aristocratic manor, they killed everyone they saw. Before long, the entire manor flowed with rivers of blood. Mixed in with the slayers, an indifferent expression on his face and a heart of stone, Yang Feng didn't take action. He simulated spirit force with his tremendous soul force, scanned the manor, and grasped the situation in the manor. Most of the people on the surface of the manor were ordinary humans, while more than 300 other race warriors were hiding below the manor. The Inquisition's black dogs. Damn it, the black dogs are here. After the more than 1,000 slayers from the Narcissus Federation rushed into the manor, roars and sounds of fighting came from inside. The Ice Blue State's warriors with long silver hair and crystal-clear bodies resembling ice and snow. There were also Crimson Flame Country's warriors who were covered in raging flames and looked 70% similar to humans. The Norton State's warriors about 2 meters tall with wolf heads and human bodies rushed out of the manor and engaged the slayers from the Narcissus Federation. The goddess of ice's true form was an ice sprite composed of pure ice elemental particles. Her people were descendants born from the union of ice attribute extraordinary life forms and humans, possessing a fraction of human bloodline. The god of fire's true form was a lava giant, and his people were lava life forms and lava life forms with human bloodline. The god of war's true form was a magic note wolf, and his people were the descendants of magic note wolves and humans. The Tsangji Plains human 8 warlock dynasties suppressed countless plains, where the aesthetic standards of the plains were distorted by human warlocks and regarded humans as the most beautiful. Many extraordinary life forms took human form and combined with humans to give birth to many strange species. Individually, the other race warriors were stronger than human warriors. But the other race warriors were divided into 3 groups that didn't belong to each other, and they schemed against each other, unwilling to fight to the death. Instead, they were forced to retreat in defeat by the human warriors. "Canis, you dare to come here to look for trouble with me? You'll be staying here today." A slightly arrogant voice echoed in the manor. A 3-meter-tall man with fire runes all over his body slowly stepped out. He looked no different from a human. Flames danced around his body. As soon as the man appeared, flames flashed, and the dozen or so human powerhouses around him immediately turned into fireballs. They let out miserable screams, and a pinnacle legend rank aura emanated from his body. "Canis, surrender. Otherwise, today will be the day you die." A magic note wolfman with a wolf head and a human body walked out from behind Canis and blocked his path of retreat. "Canis, the Inquisition has abandoned you. Join us, only then will you be able to survive." Accompanied by a bell-like laughter, a beautiful woman with silver hair, snow-white skin, and a snow-white rune tattooed on her glabella walked out of the darkness and blocked Canis back. Canis's eyes narrowed slightly, his heart turned ice-cold, and he uttered frigidly, "Bugakani, Cheruti, Kafina. Who sold me out?" Canis's raid on the manor was done in secret. Prior to this, all information was blocked by him. Except for a few upper echelons of the Inquisition, no one knew of his whereabouts. Moreover, according to the intelligence sent back by the Inquisition, there was only one junior legend rank expert in the manor. But now there were 3 of them. There was clearly a problem. The 3 powerhouses in front of Carnias were all legendary powerhouses, and every one of them was slightly stronger than him. With the 3 of them joining forces, his escape route was almost completely blocked. Even as tyrannical as he was, he couldn't help but despair. An incomparably terrifying aura erupted from a shadow, and an incomparably resplendent saber light flashed and slashed at the Moyende fierce wolfman Cheruti's body. In an instant, the defenseless Moyende fierce wolfman Cheruti was cut in half at the waist. All of a sudden, green ribbons formed from the green flower immortal spirit method shot out and stabbed the lava rock powerhouse Bugachani. Runes appeared on the green ribbons and suppressed Bugakani's protective fire. At the same time, they sealed the fire force inside him. Bugakani's face fell, and he operated his innate ability. In a flash, violent flames erupted and turned him into a huge flaming man. Under Yang Feng's exquisite manipulation, the green ribbons suddenly merged into one, stabbed at a place 10 centimeters below Bugakani's heart, and pierced through the storm of fire. A green rune suddenly condensed, and Bugakani suddenly felt as if the power inside him was cut off by something, and he trembled slightly. The cyan rune seal also gradually collapsed under the power of the flame. At that moment, a resplendent blade ray flashed and cut off Bugakani's head in an instant, and blood splashed about. Yang Feng walked out of the darkness, glanced at Kafina, and then blurred into motion, turned into a stream of light and rushed towards Kafina. In Yang Feng's hands, the green flower immortal spirit method possessed unfathomable power. The green ribbons seemed to have countless lives, like living vipers, stabbing at Kafina from strange angles. Kafina's pretty face flickered. She urged the force of ice and snow, and a violent force of ice and snow erupted in an instant and turned into a storm of ice and snow sweeping towards the green ribbons. Swept by the storm of ice and snow, countless green ribbons were frozen into ice cubes. At the same time, Yang Feng was also frozen into a huge block of ice and snow. "Haha, little beauty, I'm here." A hearty laugh sounded behind Kafina, and a huge fist slammed into her abdomen. Suddenly, countless green ribbons shot out, bound Kafina, stabbed into her body, and sealed all her power. Chapter 568. Kana stared at Yang Feng's back with shock in his eyes. This guy is so strong. He's really fierce to the extreme. Kanas has already cultivated the green flower immortal spirit method to the 12th level. He may not be Kafina's opponent. But Yang Feng, with his cultivation base at the 10th level of the green flower immortal spirit method, defeated Kafina and captured her alive. Stunned, Kanas couldn't believe his eyes. Hugging Kafina, whose power he sealed, Yang Feng laughed wildly, lowered his head, and kissed her deeply on the lips. "Haha, little beauty, from today on, you are my woman." Ashamed and angry, Kafina parted her cherry lips and bit Yang Feng's tongue. With a flash of green light, Kafina felt pain in her teeth, and blood dripped from her mouth and fell on her lips. Yang Feng said with a rude smile, "What a fierce horse. I like fierce horses like you." Yang Feng's acting skills were superb, making him look like a rude and brutal man. A feeling of powerlessness welled up inside Kafina at once, and tears streamed down her face. The three of them should have joined forces to eradicate Kanas, one of the Inquisition's 3 tycoons. However, Yang Feng appeared out of nowhere, launched a sneak attack, killed Bugakani and Cheruti, and even captured her alive. This naturally made her feel wronged. Kanas was speechless when he saw Yang Feng so unscrupulously molest a captive on the battlefield. But after taking a deep look at Kafina, greed streaked past his eyes. Kafina was a genius legend rank powerhouse of the Ice Blue State. She was extremely strong and beautiful, and reportedly had the bloodline of the goddess of ice. Such a beautiful legend rank woman with an astonishing origin moved Kanas, one of the Inquisition's 3 tycoons who has played with no less than hundreds of beautiful women. "Oh, this Kafina is of a different race." Kanas walked over and said a few words, when he felt a fierce killing intent rise from Yang Feng. Yang Feng, who was laughing heartily, became expressionless at once. Frigid killing intent condensed in his eyes, and as if a fierce beast choosing its prey, he glared fiercely at Kanas. Kanas immediately changed the topic and said, "This Kafina is of a different race. Since she has become your woman, you have to manage her well. I can't help you if she angers the chief judge of the tribunal." In the Church of Love's Inquisition, there were 3 heads. They were the presiding judge, the warden, and the inquisitor. Among the 3 heavyweights, the chief judge had the highest status and was the person with the most authority in the tribunal. Yang Feng restrained his killing intent and said indifferently, "I know." Kanas' eyes flashed with anger, but his face remained calm. Every legendary master had his own temper, and he was very clear about that. However, as one of the Inquisition's 3 tycoons, Yang Feng, his subordinate, neglected his superior, which naturally made him furious. His gratitude towards Yang Feng for saving him also disappeared without a trace. However, Yang Feng killed 3 legend-rank powerhouses with a wave of his hand. Kanas was very apprehensive, fearing that Yang Feng would fall out with him and kill him. Legend-rank powerhouses like Yang Feng, who had no ties in the Narcissus Federation, were the most terrifying. After they killed someone, they could just leave and go to other states. If they didn't seek to improve themselves, then legend rank powerhouses could live comfortably anywhere. Without the suppression of the 3 legend rank powerhouses, the more than 300 other race powerhouses in the manor were wiped out by the more than 1,000 human warriors recruited by Canis. However, more than 200 of the 1,000 human warriors died and more than 300 were injured. After experiencing this battle, the villains who gathered from all over the Narcissus Federation became even more valiant. When they returned to the Inquisition, Yang Feng was promoted to a commander for his meritorious deed of killing 2 legend-rank powerhouses. At the same time, the news that Yang Feng captured a legend-rank ice race beauty spread widely in the Inquisition, arousing the jealousy of many people. In a luxurious villa, Yang Feng reclined on a sofa and flipped through the exchange catalog. With a pure temperament, Kafina, who looks like an ice fairy, is wearing a collar and a black and white lace-made attire. She looks like a beautiful maid slave. Gritting her teeth, she sat in Yang Feng's arms and served him. Yang Feng reached into Kafina's clothes and mused, "With my current merit points, I can only exchange for 10 grams of Bamhagra stone at most. It's far from enough to upgrade the stronghold to a level 3 stronghold. I can't accumulate merit points to exchange for Bamhagra stone, I don't have enough time." If it wasn't for the threat of the Great Cloud Dynasty's Demon Hunting Division and the other Plane Development Division, Yang Feng would be willing to accumulate merit points to exchange for Bamhagra stone step by step. Although it was slow, but it was safe and flawless. This abominable fiend, I will never yield. Kafina's snow-white face was dyed red, and a trace of humiliation surged in her beautiful eyes. She gritted her teeth, and her delicate body trembled as she thought in her heart. Yang Feng pondered for a while, and then made up his mind, "It seems that I have to start the backup plan." Bang! Accompanied by a loud noise, the door of the room was directly smashed open, and a handsome, tall man dressed in a black Inquisition uniform strode in. Behind the man in black, 12 experts wearing the uniform of the Religious Court of Inquisition filed in and stood behind him. The man in black took a look at Kafina, his eyes shimmered with amazement, and he barked at Yang Feng, "I am Rant. Oh, although that ice race woman is your captive, but she is also the spoils of war of the Inquisition. Hand over that woman, or I will arrest you for corruption." Yang Feng glanced at Rant and his party with contempt in his eyes, and he sneered, "Arrest me? With you good-for-nothings?" The 12 Inquisition experts looked at Yang Feng with apprehension in their eyes. Yang Feng was an expert who slayed 2 legend-rank powerhouses. Such a powerhouse was not someone they could resist. Rant's face sank, and he said coldly, "This is an order from Sir Judge. Do you want to disobey the order of the judge and be labeled a heretic?" With that, the 12 Inquisition experts gained a trace of confidence, and they stared coldly at Yang Feng. In the Inquisition, among the 3 tycoons, the first tycoon was the Inquisition's judge. He was also the controller of the Religious Court of Inquiry, and there was no lack of legendary powerhouses who had died in his hands. Yang Feng showed a frigid smile, "This is an order from the judge. If the judge dares to give such an order, then henceforth, he will no longer be the judge, and I will be the new judge." When he heard that, Rant's face changed dramatically, fear welled up inside him, and he barked, "How dare you? Do you want to betray the Inquisition? Die!" A green ribbon sliced Rant's head, and a copious amount of blood splashed about and sprinkled on the ground. When the 12 Inquisition experts saw this scene, they inhaled a breath of cold air and trembled. They understood that a great change was bound to take place today. The judge is a heretic in disguise. Today, I'm going to kill that heretic. Do you want to follow me, or die here and be labeled as heretics in the future? I'll give you only 3 seconds to consider. As if a fierce beast awakening, fearsome legend rank might gushed out of Yang Feng, and he stared coldly at the 12 Inquisition experts and uttered flatly. The 12 Inquisition experts suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Sandwiched between 2 legend rank powerhouses, they didn't know what to choose. If they chose the judge, then only death awaited them. If they chose Yang Feng, then if Yang Feng lost, then their entire family would be labeled as heretics and burned alive. "Oh, you heretic, you and I are irreconcilable." An expert from the Ecclesiastical Court of Inquiry roared, and a beam of green light suddenly flew out and chopped off his head. Overflowing with killing intent, Yang Feng uttered frigidly, "It seems that you heretics are stubborn. According to the rules of the Inquisition, I can only kill you first, and then send the families of you heretics to reunite with you." An Inquisition expert knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Subordinate Boer is willing to follow you, Sir Ol, on a crusade against heretics. At the same time, I'm willing to dedicate everything to you, sir." Another Inquisition expert knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Subordinate Sal is willing to follow you, Sir Ol, on a crusade against heretics." The rest of the experts were still hesitant, a look of struggle in their eyes. A resplendent green ribbon flashed, and the remaining 9 Inquisition experts were chopped into pieces and scattered on the ground. Seeing this scene, Borel and Sal were both afraid and relieved. They were filled with lingering fear. If they had been a step slower, then they would have become corpses. "Oh, do you want to betray the Inquisition?" Yang Feng and his party had just walked out of the villa, when the tall, fierce-looking legend rank expert Alak and more than 100 Inquisition experts blocked in front of Yang Feng and spoke with a ferocious smile. Alak was a staunch confidant of the judge. He was extremely strong and had once killed 2 legend rank experts. In the Inquisition, he was second only to the 3 tycoons. Yang Feng sneered, "Alak, you heretic, if you don't surrender, I'll give you a way out. Otherwise, after I catch you, I'll burn you at the stake." Chapter 569. Alake was furious when he heard this. He had always been the one to threaten others like a cat acting like a mouse. Now that someone actually dared to threaten him like this, his heart was immediately filled with killing intent and anger. A ferocious look flashed in Alak's eyes, and he said coldly, "Oh, after I capture you alive, heretic, I will definitely let you taste all the punishments in my Inquisition." Before Alak's words fell, Yang Feng's figure shook slightly, and he appeared in front of him. Suddenly, green ribbons condensed into a spear and stabbed at Alak. Alak's expression changed drastically. Rays of green light surged out of his body, and his physique suddenly soared. When Yang Feng's fist slammed into Alak, a copious amount of green light formed a rune and blasted Alak to the ground. "Protect the Lord. Kill this traitor." An expert from the Religious Court of Inquiry roared. With a flash of green light, the powerhouse turned into countless pieces and scattered on the ground. A dozen plus trusted subordinates of Alak flickered with green light and rushed towards Yang Feng. As soon as they moved, a streak of azure light flashed, and they were instantly torn into pieces. The experts of the Ecclesiastical Court of Inquiry trembled in fear at the sight of this horrifying scene. Their bodies trembled and they did not dare to move. Yang Feng took a step forward and stepped on Alak's head. As if looking at an ant, he looked at Alak with contempt and said coldly, "Alak, do you choose to die, or do you choose to be my dog? If you want to be loyal to that heretic head judge, I'll fulfill your wish right now." Yang Feng's words have just fallen, when he exerted force with his foot and stomped Alak's head into the ground. "No! I don't want to die." In that intense pain, Alak was completely swallowed by the fear of death. His body trembled uncontrollably. Filled with humiliation, he used all his strength to bark, "Woof." The experts in the Religious Court of Inquisition, other than those fanatics who had been brainwashed by the Church, were the strongest. Most of them were outlaws recruited from the Narcissus Federation. Alak was also a legendary master who was recruited by the Inquisition with wealth and training resources. Now that he was facing a life-and-death threat, Alak could only humiliatingly serve as Yang Feng's dog. When the Inquisition's experts saw the legend rank expert Alak being humiliated by Yang Feng, their hearts turned ice-cold and filled with fear. The experts in the Religious Court of Inquisition were all outlaws from the Narcissus Federation and were extremely ferocious. Now that they saw Yang Feng, who was 10 times more ferocious than them, fear welled up in their hearts. Alak slowly climbed up from the ground. His badly mutilated face flashed with a savage aura. A strange light flashed in his eyes, and his heart was filled with endless malice. When Arak looked up and saw Yang Feng with an enigmatic smile on his face, he thought of how he was defeated a moment ago, and a chill welled up inside him. With his keen intuition, he could clearly sense that if he dared to act blindly without thinking, only death would await him. Alak's thoughts revolved lightning fast, and then he knelt on one knee in front of Yang Feng and said respectfully, "Alak is willing to serve, sir." Yang Feng said flatly, "Take your people and come with me. Those who resist, kill them all." Alak replied respectfully, "Yes, sir." Alak turned around, swept the dozens of Inquisition's experts with a cold gaze, and said with a ferocious smile, "You saw it. Those who are willing to follow us to crusade against the heretic judge can live. Otherwise, you can die now." The 23 Inquisition experts hesitated for a moment, and then said loudly, "We are willing to follow sir to crusade against the heretic. If you don't answer, then go to hell." A ferocious glint flashed in Alak's eyes. He took out a broadsword that was engraved with strange runes and suddenly shot out. He rushed toward the experts of the Inquisition who were unwilling to surrender. Like a ferocious tiger pouncing on a flock of sheep, Alak was like a murderous demon. Wherever the blade light passed, all the experts from the Inquisition were directly killed. The Inquisition experts resisted desperately, but no one could withstand a single move from Alak. Within a dozen breaths of time, the remaining Inquisition experts were all slain by Alak alone. As the fourth strongest expert of the Inquisition, Alak was extremely powerful. It was only because he encountered the Moonlight Warlock Yang Feng that he was easily defeated. Yang Feng glanced at Alak, then put his arm around Kafina and strode towards the depths of the Inquisition. Sounds of fighting suddenly rang in the Inquisition. In the deepest part of the Inquisition, there is a 100-meter-tall, magnificent palace. On the throne of the palace, there sits a man dressed in a black warlock robe, looking like a monarch of darkness, who is shrouded in darkness. This man is the Inquisition's first bigwig, the judge. Screams sounded from outside the palace, and the screams got closer and closer before finally reaching the palace. With Kafina in his arms, Yang Feng stepped into the palace. Behind Yang Feng, more than 100 Inquisition experts led by Alak are covered in blood, their eyes shot with blood, and their eyes flashing with frenzied killing intent. "Alak, you've got guts to want to betray me." The judge glanced at Alak indifferently, and a fearsome aura, which seems to be shrouded in endless darkness, spread from him and enveloped Alak. Alak suddenly trembled, fear streaked past his eyes, and he unconsciously took a few steps back. The judge is the #1 expert of the Inquisition, a fearsome powerhouse infinitely close to the demigod rank. According to legend, he already possesses demigod rank strength. Facing the judge, Alak can't even muster the will to resist, his body trembling. If it wasn't for the fact that Yang Feng is equally unfathomable, he might have already stabbed Yang Feng. A large number of Inquisition experts filed in from both sides of the hall and stared covetously at Yang Feng's party. There are even 2 legend rank experts among them. Whether it is in terms of numbers or momentum, Yang Feng's party is at a disadvantage. "Shut up, you heresy!" Yang Feng loosened his grip and tossed Kafina aside, and green light lit up on him. A total of 12 layers of green light lit up on him. The 12th level of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method? A look of ridicule flashed in the chief judge's eyes. He sneered and a black brilliance flickered on his body. A total of 12 layers lit up and countless distorted human faces appeared within the black brilliance. They opened their mouths and let out a series of soundless screams. There was a flash of surprise in Yang Feng's eyes, the 12th level of the variant Green Flower Immortal Spirit method. Unable to cultivate the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method to the 13th level, the demigod rank, the judge took another approach. He used the souls and resentment of the countless prisoners to merge with the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method, turning it into this strange state. Its power is far greater than that of the 12th level of the Green Flower Immortal Spirit method. The judge glanced coldly at Yang Feng's party, then took out a pitch-black bone crown inscribed with countless runes and put it on. Streams of black aura gushed out of the crown and flowed into the chief judge's body. It forcefully pushed his strength to the early demigod realm. Alak's complexion changed dramatically, his body trembled, and his eyes shimmered with fear. Demigod, this is demigod rank power. Demigod rank power. Yang Feng frowned slightly. Countless runes flashed in his eyes, and green light shone on him, and the 12th level turned into the 13th level. Yang Feng's avatar Ol couldn't use the power of the small world inside him. In this way, only demigods can contend against demigods. Stunned, Alak couldn't believe his eyes. Demigod. He promoted to a demigod just like that? Kafina's beautiful eyes flashed with astonishment, and she exclaimed, Demigod, how is that possible? He clearly cultivated the green flower immortal spirit method to the 10th level, so how did he suddenly reach the 13th level? Demigod. How is that possible? When the judge saw this scene, he was stunned, his eyes shot with blood, his body trembled, and he almost fell into madness. There is only one demigod guard in the Narcissus Federation. The judge has cultivated bitterly for many years, but he is still stuck at the 12th level of the green flower immortal spirit method, unable to advance an inch. He can only temporarily possess demigod rank power with the help of treasures. For Yang Feng to easily break through to the demigod rank in front of the judge's eyes, the judge's outlook on life seems to collapse. Yang Feng took a step forward, appeared in front of the judge like a ghost, and took advantage of the judge's moment of shock and punched him in the abdomen. With a loud bang, the aloof chief judge was sent flying and slammed into the wall. Countless green radiances flickered on his abdomen and forcefully sealed the chief judge's strength. Yang Feng beckoned with a hand, and a green ribbon wrapped around the demigod armament crown of evil spirits worn by the judge. He sat on the judge's throne, looked coldly at the many powerhouses of the Inquisition, and said with a cold smile, From today on, I am the new judge. Whoever dares to disagree, come forward. The entire Inquisition was silent. The many powerhouses of the Inquisition couldn't believe their eyes. The judge, who is almost invincible in their eyes, was suppressed by Yang Feng with a punch. This is simply shocking. Unwilling to submit to Yang Feng, but also unwilling to die, they fell into a state of silence for a while. Chapter 570. Her Holiness the Pope has arrived. A voice rang out from outside the hall. A beautiful woman with a crown on her head and a set of clothes inlaid with countless jewels stepped into the hall. She was tall, had an extraordinary temperament, and every movement she made was filled with charm. She was an incomparably beautiful woman. Greetings, Your Holiness the Pope. In the reception hall, the Inquisition's experts bowed slightly and saluted the beautiful woman respectfully. The position of Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love has always been held by beautiful women, and each of them has an extraordinary temperament. Two legend rank experts guarding in front of the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love stared coldly at Yang Feng. Frigid killing intent surged from all directions and locked onto Yang Feng. As long as the Pope gives the order, all the experts present will attack Yang Feng at all costs. It's over. Alak's eyes were filled with despair as he looked at the experts surrounding him. Despair flashed across the eyes of the more than 100 experts from the Inquisition behind Alak. The Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love can use demigod armaments to display demigod rank battle prowess. Coupled with the Inquisition's countless experts working together, they can even suppress demigod rank powerhouses. Yang Feng got up from the judge's throne, the green light around him disappeared in an instant, and he came to in front of the Pope and bowed deeply to her, saying, Greetings, Your Holiness the Pope. The judge has colluded with heresy, and the evidence is conclusive. For the sake of the Church, I acted, set things right and killed him. Please forgive me, Your Holiness. When the Inquisition's experts in the reception hall heard Yang Feng's inverted words, they revealed furious gazes and stared at Yang Feng. The Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love said lightly, The judge has colluded with heresy, and his crimes are unforgivable. Ol killed the rebel, and his meritorious service is outstanding. I now recognize him as the new judge. When they heard the words of the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love, the Inquisition's experts in the reception hall were dumbfounded, unable to believe their ears. Some of the higher-ups of the Inquisition suddenly felt strange. They glanced at the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love, lowered their heads, and felt a chill in their hearts. The Inquisition was a part of the Church of the Goddess of Love, but the former Chief Inquisitor was very powerful, and the entire Inquisition was under his management. If the Church of the Goddess of Love wanted to mobilize the power of the Inquisition, they would often need to exchange benefits with the Chief Inquisitor and compromise with each other. When the Chief Judge died, Yang Feng, who killed him, was immediately appointed as the new Chief Judge. This matter sent a chill down the spines of the Inquisition's powerhouses who had been immersed in intrigue all their lives. Alack immediately saluted Yang Feng and said, "Greetings, Elder Judge." "Greetings, Head Judge." Voices rang in the reception hall, and virtually all the Inquisition's powerhouses saluted Yang Feng respectfully. As a demigod-rank powerhouse, Yang Feng possessed tyrannical strength. Moreover, with the full support of the Pope of the Goddess of Love, it was perfectly justifiable for him to become the Chief Judge of the Inquisition. No matter how unwilling the diehard followers of the Chief Judge were, they could only watch in horror and despair as Yang Feng ascended to the throne of the Chief Judge. At night, in a luxurious villa in the Inquisition, Yang Feng sat on a sofa made of white tiger skin and carefully looked at a book that recorded the treasures in the Inquisition's inventory. Kafina knelt on one side and served Yang Feng respectfully. Yang Feng was now the new Chief Judge of the Inquisition, and a demigod-rank powerhouse to boot. She had already given up on the idea of resisting him. Yang Feng showed a smile, as expected of the Inquisition, which has influence all over the Narcissus Federation. The Bamhagra stone in its inventory is enough to build 3-level, 3 matter and energy converters at the same time. Matter and energy converters were one of the cores of Shizu technology, black technology among black technology. In theory, as long as there was enough energy, matter and energy converters could convert anything. As long as the 3-level, 3 matter and energy converters were manufactured, Bamhagra stone could be directly converted through the matter and energy converters. Of course, this required a huge amount of energy. Yang Feng secretly built countless nuclear energy collectors, geothermal energy collectors, and other energy collectors in his territories in the Tarandit subcontinent, the Fuso subcontinent, and the Feisua plain. The energy reserves were extremely abundant. In the short term, he didn't have to worry about energy. Killing intent streaked past Yang Feng's eyes, and he mused, when the people of the Demon Hunting Division and the other Plane Development Division come here, I'll teach them a lesson. In the Yunjing city, Yang Feng was framed for no reason. If he hadn't been prepared, he would have been killed or captured. As a result, his sense of identity with the Great Cloud Dynasty disappeared. I have the support of the Battle Demon sect. According to reason, even the Tai Yi sect can't hide the truth from the masses in the Cloud Capital and frame me. Yang Feng frowned and pondered. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of a force that could hide the truth from the masses in the Cloud Capital and frame a peerless genius favored by the 10 great sects. The Tai Yi sect was known as the #1 sect in the Great Cloud Dynasty, but it couldn't hide the truth from the masses in the Cloud Capital and frame a genius of the Battle Demon sect at will. Yang Feng killed a Moonlight Warlock of the Jiang family, snatched the severed head, and extracted the memories of the Moonlight Warlock, but he didn't get much useful information. He only knew that the Jiang family was involved in the framing of Yang Feng. Yang Feng carefully weighed and ruled out all the impossible forces. A hair-raising behemoth suddenly emerged. No, there is another force in the Cloud Capital that can do this, and that is the royal family. The Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, the most powerful force was the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family. Unless the 10 great sects and the 8 great families joined forces, they would be able to overwhelm the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family. Otherwise, no sect or faction would be a match for the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family. As the center of the Great Cloud Dynasty, the Cloud Capital was firmly controlled by the royal family. Other forces could only infiltrate a small part of the capital. Yang Feng frowned slightly and sank into his thoughts. Why does the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family want to deal with me? How dare they deal with me? As one of the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty, the Battle Demons sect was extremely powerful. Countless experts from the Battle Demons sect were active in various fields of the Great Cloud Dynasty's imperial court. Even the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family would be somewhat apprehensive of such a powerful force. Originally, Yang Feng should be a proud son of heaven with a profound background that no one would dare to deal with lightly. But now that he was framed by the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family, he was puzzled. He only vaguely guessed that there was a huge conspiracy or storm brewing. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Yang Feng said, "Come in." The door was pushed open, and a beautiful woman with dazzling blonde hair, a tall and sexy figure, and an alluring temperament strode in, a fragrance wafting from her. The beautiful woman walked up to Yang Feng, coquettishly lifted Kafina's chin, and said with a sweet smile, "Dear, is this a little toy you caught? She's really good-looking, I'm a little jealous." Bewitched by the beautiful woman's alluring temperament, Kafina's eyes became hazy, and then her pretty face changed at once, an incredulous look on her face, and she uttered in a trembling voice, "You are the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love." Under Kafina's horrified gaze, the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love smiled sweetly, sat in Yang Feng's arms, and looked at Yang Feng affectionately, looking extremely charming and beautiful. The Pope looked at Yang Feng affectionately and said gently, "Dear, I miss you so much." Yang Feng kissed the pretty face of the gorgeous Pope, showed a smile, and exclaimed in admiration, "Katrina, you're really amazing. To be able to become the Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love, that's really amazing." The Pope of the Church of the Goddess of Love was Katrina. It was because of this that Yang Feng could kill the judge unscrupulously and ascend to the throne of the judge himself. Yang Feng asked, "Do you have complete control over the apologetic knights?" A church is basically composed of the church's clergy, the apologetic knights, and the Inquisition. The church controls the apologetic knights and the Inquisition. However, sometimes, if the apologetic knight commander or the Inquisition's judge is strong, they can contend against the church. Yang Feng's previous judge was very unruly and didn't take the young Pope Katrina seriously. Only then did Yang Feng act and brazenly kill the chief judge. Taking advantage of this opportunity, with Katrina's support, he took control of the tribunal. If the apologetic knights were also in Katrina's hands, then the entire Church of the Goddess of Love would be under Yang Feng and Katrina's control. Katrina smiled sweetly and said, "The leader of the apologetic knights, Gray, is a god's chosen. Although he obeys my orders, he is still a god's chosen. Although he obeys my orders, but he only obeys my reasonable orders. I only have about 1/10 of the apologetic knights under my control." Yang Feng uttered with some regret, "What a pity." Katrina uttered with a sweet smile, "Dear, that's just right. The Goddess of Love pays attention to the church from time to time. If the church is completely under my control, I'm afraid that she will issue an oracle and deprive me of my rights." The Andrak plane was different from the Fesua plane. The Andrak plane only had 7 gods and 2 god positions that could be promoted. Although the gods lived high up in their divine countries, but they still often paid attention to the secular world, and even went to the secular world with their true bodies from time to time. If Katrina had complete control over the Church of the Goddess of Love, then even the Goddess of Love would feel uneasy. Chapter 571. The gods of the Fesua Plain signed the Treaty of the Gods, and their true bodies were not allowed to roam the Fesua Plain lightly. That was because wars between strong divine force-ranked gods could easily cause landslides, environmental pollution, and people to be plunged into misery and suffering. The foundation of gods was the faith of mortals. If mortals died, gods would slowly weaken and eventually die. There were only 7 gods in the Andrak plane, and they didn't sign the Treaty of the Gods. As such, they could naturally roam the secular world with their true bodies. But for the sake of safety, gods generally hid their true bodies in their divine countries, and only had their avatars roam the secular world. Churches were tools for gods to control the faith of mortals. Many gods of the Faesua plane had one or several inferior planes as their source of faith. The gods of the Andrak plane, on the other hand, only had the intelligent life forms of this plane as their source of faith. As such, they naturally attached more importance to the secular world than the Faesua plane. Yang Feng asked, "What's the situation with the Great Cloud Dynasty now?" Katrina raised her eyebrows, looked at Kafina, and said, "Recite the name of a god. On this plane, you can directly contact a god. This is the law of gods." Startled, Kafina lowered her head. Since she was captured, she has been reciting the name of the goddess of ice, yet she didn't get any response. Yang Feng said lightly, "I have cut off her connection with the goddess of ice." Kafina's pretty face suddenly turned pale, and her tender body trembled slightly. Katrina said, "The Great Cloud Dynasty has taken action against the Battle Demon sect. As far as I know, the disciples of the Battle Demon sect in the Great Cloud Dynasty have been purged, and all of them have been arrested and imprisoned. The Battle Demon sect has begun to withdraw its forces, and all disciples have been recalled to the Battle Demon province." Yang Feng's complexion changed dramatically. "What's going on?" Katrina said with a smile, "If I'm not mistaken, the Great Cloud Dynasty wants to eradicate the 10 great sects and 8 great families one by one, so that it can control all the resources and power, and truly become the overlord of the Eastern world." Yang Feng suddenly had a flash of realization, so that's how it is. The power of the 10 great sects and 8 great families was too great. Their countless disciples infiltrated every corner of the imperial court. In fact, the entire Great Cloud Dynasty is jointly ruled by the imperial family, the 10 great sects, and the 8 great families. After tens of thousands of years of accumulation, the strength of the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family has far surpassed that of when the Great Cloud Dynasty was founded. They have great ambitions and want to eliminate the other forces in the Great Cloud Dynasty and truly control the Great Cloud Dynasty. Yang Feng thought further. After the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family integrated the resources of the Great Cloud Dynasty, they would launch an attack on the Western world's 3 dynasties and unify the Zhangji Plain in one fell swoop. Then, with the help of the Zhangji Plain's resources, they would break through in one fell swoop and promote to a warlock emperor. If someone as ambitious as Yang Feng became the emperor of the Great Cloud Dynasty, he would find a way to flatten the 10 great sects and the 8 great families step by step, take the countless resources of the Great Cloud Dynasty for himself, and find a way to promote to a warlock emperor. Yang Feng asked, "How did the other 9 great sects and 8 great families react?" Katrina said, "The Tai sect has completely surrendered to the Bai family and actively helped the Bai family suppress the disciples of the Battle Demon sect. The Saint Lotus sect restrained the Bright Moon sect. The other 8 great families and 6 great sects have yet to express any opinion. The Bai family was the royal family of the Great Cloud Dynasty. After tens of thousands of years of development, they obtained countless resources through the Great Cloud Dynasty and cultivated countless experts loyal to the Bai family. In the Zhangji Plains continent, in addition to the 10 great sects and the 8 great families, there were also many powerful warlock groups hidden in the dark from the warlock imperial dynasty's eras. Those formidable warlock groups have their own planes as their foundation, hiding in other planes and spying on the main continent's changes. The 36 primary material planes have all given birth to warlock emperor rank powerhouses. But according to legend, the Zhangji plane once gave birth to eternal sovereigns who surpassed warlock emperors in the arch-god era. Supposedly, every single eternal was an indestructible entity with boundless power. Reportedly, their strength had far exceeded the limits of the universe, and they were rejected by the universe will and had to leave this world. In the past, the Time King had obtained a portion of the inheritance left behind by an Eternal One. He had changed his constitution to one that was compatible with time and created the Time Codex. That was how he had been able to defeat one incredibly powerful ancient god after another and suppress an entire era. Except for the Zhangji plane, no other planes have given birth to eternal sovereigns. It was precisely because of this that countless powerful existences coveted this plane. Among the countless terrifying forces spying on the Zhangji plane, the Bai family, which has held the imperial power of the Great Cloud Dynasty for tens of thousands of years, was definitely at the top. Some ancient warlock groups that have existed since the first warlock imperial dynasty were not the Bai family's opponents. This was the benefit of being in charge of a dynasty. Yang Feng sighed slightly, short-sighted, but that's human nature. If the 10 great sects and the 8 great families joined forces to deal with the Bai family, then even the Bai family would have to retreat, not daring to compete with them. However, the Tai Yi sect and the Saint Lotus sect sided with the Bai family, and the 8 great families remained silent, leaving the Bai family unchecked. It was only a matter of time before the Battle Demons sect was destroyed. Once the Battle Demons sect was destroyed, the Bai family could wipe out the 10 great sects and the 8 great families one by one and truly grasp the Great Cloud dynasty. In the outer space outside the Andrak plain, ripples suddenly emerged, and giant warships up to 3,000 meters long slowly flew out. Outsider, this is our Andrak plane. Get out! As soon as 30 giant warships flew out, an angry roar reverberated in the space. On a warship covered with countless barriers and engraved with countless runes, there stood a handsome young man in white with an arrogant expression on his face. Behind the handsome young man stood Dong Rui and 2 middle-aged men respectfully. The handsome young man uttered with an arrogant expression, "A trifling feeble divine force rank indigenous god dares to threaten us, how reckless! Submit to me, Bai Tianqing, or you're dead." Endless fire elemental particles suddenly condensed and turned into a 1,000-meter-long giant flaming hand in the sky that slapped towards the handsome young man. Bai Tianqing flipped his hand, and a mirror suddenly appeared in his hand. He shone it at the giant flame hand, and a white ray of light hit the giant flame hand, directly extinguishing it. Bai Tianqing snorted coldly, "What a bold indigenous god, you dare attack me! I'll first slaughter your believers, then go to your divine country and take your dog life." 10 warships descended from the sky and flew towards the Andrak plane's surface world. Behind Bai Tianqing, ripples emerged in the space, and one giant warship after another slowly flew out of the void. These warships are the elites of the Great Cloud dynasty that flew out of the astral passage and crossed countless distances to reach the Andrak plane. The gods of any plane controlled a law of the plane, and at the same time, they had a mysterious connection with the plane. As soon as the 30-plus warships appeared, the gods felt that the other party came with ill intentions. Along with flashes of light, a 1,000-meter-tall lava giant enveloped in flames, a magic note wolf with a wolf's head and human body, a snow-white and translucent snow fairy, a monster wrapped in black bandages whose face cannot be seen clearly, a tall human man with blonde hair and blue eyes with an imposing appearance, a tall woman with blonde hair and blue eyes dressed in a purple robe, and a masked man with a gold mask appeared in this space. The Andrak plane's 7 gods each sent an avatar here, each of which exudes a fearsome aura. The lava giant roared out, "Scram! Otherwise, we'll fight to the death." Bai Tianqing glanced at the 7 gods and sneered, saying arrogantly, "A bunch of lowly aboriginals. But these 2 goddesses are good-looking. I am Bai Tianqing of the Zhangji Plains Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family's Bai family. I'll give you a choice, submit to me and serve me. I can give all of you a way out. Otherwise, all of you will die." Dong Rui frowned slightly, feeling that Bai Tianqing was too arrogant and domineering. Originally, their mission was to ferret out Yang Feng who escaped into this plane and kill him. However, Bai Tianqing was so arrogant and domineering that he offended the 7 gods. This is a war to conquer another plane. Dong Rui looked at the huge warships that appeared one after another, and his heart stirred. He understood Bai Tianqing's plan. Bai Tianqing clearly wants to conquer this other plane and make it his territory. With the support of the Grade 6 plane, Bai Tianqing may even be able to attack the Bright World Warlock realm in the future. The eyes of the god of justice shimmered coldly, and he barked, "In that case, let's fight to the death." Outside the Andrak plane, 7 stars shone brightly, and the divine legions of the 7 divine countries quickly assembled and flew over in one flying warship after another. The 7 god avatars suddenly retreated briskly and flew towards their divine legions. Each of the 7 gods has a lifespan of more than 10,000 years, and their divine legions number in the millions. After the 100th huge warship flew out, Bai Tianqing and his party quietly anchored in the plane's outer space, analyzed the mysteries of the Andrak plane, and manufactured secret treasures that can shield the suppression of the plane origin will. Chapter 572. In the scarlet flame state, in a great temple shrouded in lava, an idol burst out with resplendent divine light. My Lord has decreed that the war of gods shall begin. The oracle immediately spread throughout the entire Qi Yen country. The Qi Yen country was immediately mobilized. Countless experts quickly assembled and formed one army after another. The same was true for the other 6 states. Countless troops gathered and prepared for the war of gods. The Narcissus Federation also gathered 200,000 troops and quickly surrounded a huge warship that landed in the territory of the Narcissus Federation. On an avenue, there was a dense army of 200,000 soldiers from the Narcissus Federation stretching for dozens of kilometers. It was a spectacular sight. In the sky, there were hundreds of warlocks from the Great Cloud Dynasty dressed in black warlock robes floating in the air. The Starry Sky warlock in the lead smiled coldly and ordered, "A bunch of ants. Do it." The hundreds of warlocks silently recited incantations and pointed at the sky with magic staffs in their hands. In the sky, fire elemental particles gathered, countless fire clouds churned, and fireballs rained down and barreled towards the Narcissus Federation's army. Under the bombardment of the terrifying fireballs, the 200,000 ordinary soldiers from the Narcissus Federation screamed miserably before they were engulfed by the flames and turned into fireballs. Within a dozen-plus breaths of time, the 200,000 ordinary people were swallowed by the rain of fire, leaving only a few hundred experts with level 2 warlock rank cultivation base and above struggling at death's door. The hundreds of level 2 warlock rank experts have just escaped from the rain of fire, when they saw thousands of human warlocks dressed in black warlock robes blocking in front of them. Each warlock in black exudes legend rank aura. Legend rank. How can this be? How can there be so many legend rank experts? Legend rank, how can there be so many legend rank experts? When the hundreds of experts with level 2 warlock rank cultivation base and above saw this scene, their eyes surged with despair, and they screamed frantically. There are less than 20 legend rank experts in the entire Narcissus Federation. The nearly 10,000 legend rank powerhouses in front of the warlocks caused the Narcissus Federation's legend rank powerhouse to collapse. Kill them all. A ruthless order echoed and countless spells instantly exterminated the few hundred remaining Narcissus Federation powerhouses. This scene was happening all over the 7 great nations. Each of the 10 huge warships has 10,000 great warlock rank powerhouses. Furthermore, each of these powerhouses is a veteran who has experienced countless battles. Apart from divine legions, ordinary armies were not the opponents of 10,000 strong armies with great warlocks as soldiers. As for the divine legions of the 7 gods, they were ambushed by Tianqing and the powerhouses of the Great Cloud Dynasty in the outer space of the Andrak Plain. The two sides fought endlessly. The Great Cloud Dynasty is very experienced in conquering planes with gods. That god's divine kingdom was too dangerous, it was not easy to enter. The suppression of human warlocks in the plane's outer space was relatively small, making it suitable for human warlocks to fight. Therefore, they could ambush the Divine Legion in the outer city space, and then send an elite force to conquer the mortal world on the ground. After slaughtering all the believers of the gods in the mortal world, they could weaken the foundation of the gods. Gods ascended to godhood with the help of the faith force of ordinary people. The foundation of their existence was the faith of ordinary people. If there were no ordinary people in the primary material plane who believed in them, they would continue to weaken and eventually die. Even with the support of divine force crystals, but gods without the faith of ordinary people couldn't rely on divine force crystals to exist. They would only be weakened and eventually die. The Holy Fairy City, inside the presidential palace's conference hall. At a long table, there sat a tall, sexy, and gorgeous blonde woman with a 70% resemblance to the goddess of love, a spirited old man with white hair, Pope Katrina, Yang Feng, apologetic Knight Commander Gray, and important ministers of the Narcissus Federation. The gorgeous beauty was the current patriarch of the Narcissus family and the president of the Narcissus Federation, Blanche. The spirited old man was the Minister of Defense Portman. Portman said with a grave expression, "The first to the fourth corps of the Narcissus Federation were wiped out by the freaks from the Tsangji Plain a day ago. None survived. How could this be? That was a 200,000-strong army. Even if it were 200,000 pigs, it would be impossible to kill them all in a day. What the hell happened?" The complexions of the ministers in the hall changed dramatically, and they questioned one after another. Portman's expression was unsightly, and he uttered unhurriedly, "Each of the freaks from the Tsangji Plain possesses legend rank strength, and there are as many as 10,000 of them. 10,000 legend rank powerhouses." The ministers of the Narcissus Federation sucked in a breath of cold air. In the Andrak Plain, the fighting prowess of a legend-ranked powerhouse is already astonishing. Now that 10,000 legend-ranked powerhouses have appeared, there is no power in the secular world that can resist them. A strange atmosphere pervaded the conference hall. Many ministers of the Narcissus Federation, who are considering surrendering, looked at Yang Feng seemingly inadvertently. Yang Feng, the Inquisition's judge, seems to be reminding them of the terrible consequences of betrayal. Blanche frowned slightly and uttered, "The Narcissus Federation is facing the most dangerous situation in 1,000 years. In order to weaken our lord, those demons from the other planes will slaughter all the mortals. We don't have any other choice but to fight to the death with them. That's the only way. If anyone has a way, feel free to speak. As long as it is effective, our lord will reward you handsomely." Silence reigned in the hall. Everyone was speechless. The 10,000 legend-rank powerhouses can crush all the powerhouses in the Andrak Plain's secular world. Even a demigod-ranked powerhouse will die when besieged by 10,000 legend-rank powerhouses. In the face of absolute power, no one can think of a way to contend against the legend-rank powerhouses. "I have a way." A voice sounded in the reception hall, attracting the gazes of all the people in the hall and focusing on Yang Feng. "Not long ago, an evil god from another plane found me. He is an enemy of the Tsangji Plain's freaks. This is his support for us." Yang Feng flicked his finger, and a scarlet magic cube flew out and spun on the table in front of him. Yang Feng replied, "This is a treasure refined by the evil god using alchemy. Young and beautiful virgins can use the power of this magic cube to become a powerhouse with legend-rank strength. However, in exchange, the user's soul and everything will belong to the evil god." The hearts of many ministers suddenly jumped, and their gazes focused on the magic cube with a scorching shade in their eyes. A magic cube can turn an ordinary woman into a fearsome powerhouse with legend-rank strength. The power of the magic cube is simply heaven-defying. With the power of ministers, each of them can get dozens of qualified users. In this way, as long as they have enough magic cubes, they will have dozens of legend-rank powerhouses. Gray's face suddenly changed dramatically, and he barked, "Souls are a taboo of the gods. Oh, how dare you collude with an evil god and spy on the souls of my lord's believers?" Yang Feng said lightly, "I am also serving my lord. Whether this secret treasure is to be used or not, my lord can decide. If my lord is unwilling to use this secret treasure, then I will refuse the evil god." When Yang Feng's words fell, the hall fell silent. Blanche looked at Katrina, but when she saw the silent and solemn expression on Katrina's face, she frowned at once. Blanche said resolutely, "Gray, now that my lord is threatened by the freaks of the Tsangji Plain, it is imperative to eliminate all freaks. For my lord, for the sake of the Narcissus Federation, if this secret treasure is really effective, then it must be used." A maid with a few freckles on her face and a sexy figure walked into the hall. Yang Feng flicked his finger, and the magic cube fell into the maid's hand. "Drip your blood on it, and it will automatically guide you." The maid glanced at Blanche. Blanche said, "Gina, do it." The maid took out a knife and cut her finger, and drops of blood flowed along her snow-white finger and fell on the magic cube. After the magic cube absorbed the blood, runes lit up, and a red armor wrapped around Gina. "I am willing to offer my soul and everything I have to the great god in exchange for power." As soon as Gina finished speaking, countless runes lit up on the red armor, and a legendary-level pressure immediately emanated from her body and swept in all directions. Legend rank. This is legend rank power. Legend rank power. It's really legend rank power. When the ministers of the Narcissus Federation saw this scene, they immediately revealed looks of excitement. Blanche's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly asked, "How many of these treasures do you have?" Yang Feng replied with a smile, "At present, the evil god has given me 10,000 of these treasures, 10,000. The people present inhaled a breath of cold air and looked at Yang Feng with scorching gazes. Yang Feng then said, "I have always adored you, President. Today, I would like to propose to you. Please agree." A marriage alliance with the president of the Narcissus Federation is the best way to peacefully seize the power of the Narcissus Federation. Once the Narcissus Federation falls under Yang Feng's control, he will be able to do more things justifiably. Chapter 573. Upon hearing Yang Feng's sudden proposal, the reception hall went silent, and strange gazes fell on Yang Feng and Blanche. Blanche is the president of the Narcissus Federation. Whoever marries her is equivalent to having the entire Narcissus Federation in their hands. Over the years, no one knew how many people had set their eyes on Blanche, the peerlessly beautiful and astonishingly powerful beauty, but no one had ever succeeded in winning her heart. Blanche's pretty face suddenly flickered, and she uttered coldly, "Oh, are you threatening me?" Yang Feng smiled faintly, and Gina's armor suddenly peeled off, turned into a magic cube, and returned to his hand. He didn't say a word. Now is the most dangerous time for the Narcissus Federation, as well as the best opportunity for Yang Feng to peacefully seize power. At present, Yang Feng needs the 7 gods as his barrier to contend against the Great Cloud Dynasty's expeditionary army. He can't use force to seize the Narcissus Federation. Marriage was the best and simplest way to achieve this. Blanche looked at the rest of the ministers in the hall. The ministers of the Narcissus Federation were silent. In their opinion, it would be best if Blanche could be sacrificed in exchange for peace in the Narcissus Federation. As if she has fallen into an ice cave, Blanche gnashed her teeth and stared at Yang Feng. Her delicate body trembled, but she still maintained restraint. After all, she is not a little girl, but the president of the Narcissus Federation. She naturally knows that making a fuss is useless. A communications officer suddenly broke into the hall and shouted, "Not good, the Tsangji Plains freaks are less than 30 kilometers away from the Holy Fairy City. How is that possible? How can they come so fast? What about the 6th Legion? What are they doing?" In the hall, the ministers panicked, and despair shimmered in their eyes. Many ministers have the intention to retreat, and they plan to flee immediately. The Tsangji Plains warriors came here to kill all the believers of the gods. It is impossible for these ministers to surrender. The magic cube in Yang Feng's hand spun, and he uttered with a smile, "I have a troop armed with an evil god magic cube." Blanche was, after all, the female president of the Narcissus Federation. She said decisively, "Ore, as long as you lead your evil god's cube army to annihilate those invaders, we will be able to kill them. I'll marry you." Yang Feng said with a forthright smile, "Haha, okay, I will go and annihilate the Tsangji Plains freaks." A bunch of mere natives actually dares to spout such arrogant words, wanting to wipe us out? Truly a bunch of fools who don't know the meaning of death. A viper suddenly flew out of the messenger's mouth and spat out a poisonous mist that turned into a corrosive poisonous cloud that swept towards everyone present. Yang Feng spread the fingers of a hand, and green light shone, rolled up the poisonous mist, and sealed it into a green sphere. With a flash of green light, the viper was sliced into 2. A demigod powerhouse. He didn't expect that there would be such a big shot here. I wonder if you have condensed a godhead. If I kill you and dig out your godhead and sell it, it will be very valuable. A tall, burly, and handsome young warlock dressed in a black cloak strode into the room, followed by 12 human warlocks dressed in the same black cloak. "I am Xia Ming, the captain of the other plane development division's Shadow Fawn. Except for a few beautiful women, you lowly aboriginals should all commit suicide." Otherwise, when I do it myself, you'll only die more painfully. Xia Ming looked at everyone in the hall with a derisive expression, and pinnacle starry sky warlock rank fluctuations of power spread from him. The 12 human warlocks following Xia Ming also looked at the many ministers of the Narcissus Federation with derisive expressions, and junior starry sky warlock rank fluctuations of power spread from them. Demigod, 13 demigods. How can there be so many demigods? Inside the main hall, all the ministers of the Narcissus Federation had a look of despair in their eyes as they cried out in horror. The entire Narcissus Federation only had one demigod expert as a guardian. The 13 demigod experts could completely flatten the entire Holy Fairy City. No one was a match for them. It was because he controlled such a powerful force that Bai Tianqing had no intention of negotiating with the 7 gods, and instead used force to suppress them. Blanche's beautiful eyes shimmered with fear and despair, and she exclaimed, "Demigod! 13 demigods! If there were 3 or 4 demigods, the Holy Fairy City could still gather all the experts to fight them. However, there were 13 demigods joining forces. But 13 demigods, even if the Holy Fairy City mobilized its trump cards, only death would await them. Do it!" Yang Feng swept Xia Ming and the other 13 Shadow Fang elites with a cold smile and ordered. Bright beams of light shot out from outside, pierced through the wall, and slammed into the 13 Shadow Fang elites. Rays of light flickered and wisps of spatial ripples enveloped the Shadow Fang elite, activating a teleportation secret treasure. The Great Cloud Dynasty had a secret treasure division that specialized in developing secret treasures, and there were countless alchemists gathered in the secret treasure division. The secret treasure division has developed many standard secret treasures, and the most elite troops of the Great Cloud Dynasty already have a life-saving secret treasure that can be triggered. At that moment, there was a disturbance in the space, and the spatial fluctuations that enveloped the Shadow Fang elites disappeared. Fearsome electromagnetic beams instantly ran through the 13 Shadow Fang elites and blasted open huge bloody holes on their bodies. From the direction the electromagnetic beams came from, it could be seen that more than 30 magic cube mechanical warriors covered in a layer of crimson mechanical armor and equipped with a pair of wings. "Yang Feng, you bastard, you'll die a horrible death." Xia Ming was a quasi-glorious Sun Warlock rank expert. But due to the suppression of the plain origin will, his cultivation base was only at the pinnacle Starry Sky Warlock rank. After his chest was run through by the electromagnetic beams, he still didn't die on the spot. Instead, he issued a heaven-shaking roar, blurred into motion, slammed into a wall, and blasted open a large hole, and fled into the distance. Xia Ming and the other Great Cloud Dynasty powerhouses came to the Andrak Plain for another purpose, and that was to hunt down Yang Feng who had fled to this plane. Only a powerhouse from the Great Cloud Dynasty like Yang Feng knew about the means of the Great Cloud Dynasty's warlocks and made a targeted response. If it wasn't for the spatial disturbance, the 13 Shadow Fang elites wouldn't have been killed in a single confrontation. "You want to escape? Stay!" Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with killing intent, and he waved his hand and ordered coldly. 30 Magic Cube soldiers clad in crimson Magic Cube mechas suddenly appeared, and they fired wildly at Xia Ming with super railguns in their hands. A Magic Cube soldier released spatial disruption fluctuations to interfere with space, making it impossible for Xia Ming to use spatial spells to escape. Xia Ming was seriously injured to begin with, and his movements became a lot slower. Coupled with the suppression of the plain origin will, he couldn't display even 10% of his extraordinary abilities. In the blink of an eye, he was hit by more than a dozen electromagnetic beams. He fell from midair like a tattered rag doll and fell to the ground. Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he flew to in front of Xia Ming. His body shone with green light, and he touched Xia Ming's forehead with a finger, and a rune suddenly appeared and sealed Xia Ming completely. 13 demigods died just like that. Is this the power of the evil god Magic Cube? So strong! This is the power of the evil god Magic Cube, it's really terrifying. When the many ministers of the Narcissus Federation saw Xia Ming and the other 12 demigod-ranked powerhouses killed almost instantly by Yang Feng's Magic Cube mechanical warriors, they were dumbstruck, unable to believe their eyes. There was a complicated look in Blanche's beautiful eyes, so strong. This is the power of the evil god Magic Cube. No wonder he's so confident. The enemy is coming. I'm going to give them a surprise. I'm going to let them know that the Narcissus Federation can't be bullied by them. Blanche, wash your body and wait to marry me. Ha ha ha. With a burst of wild laughter, Yang Feng trod on air and walked into the distance like a god. Magic Cube mechanical warriors suddenly flew up and, like stars surrounding the moon, escorted him as he flew into the distance. Looking at Yang Feng's heroic back, Blanche's heart stirred. Maybe it's not bad to marry him. Compared with the slightly crude but unparalleled heroic Yang Feng, the many ministers in the hall looked very unbearable. Blanche had seen many handsome men who didn't dare to take responsibility. Seeing Yang Feng take the initiative to fight the Zhangji Plains invaders, her heart was naturally moved. Crimson Magic Cube mechanical warriors suddenly flew out and gathered around Yang Feng. It didn't take long for 1,000 Magic Cube mechanical warriors to gather around Yang Feng. Katrina was the Pope of the Church of Love, and she could easily choose more than 1,000 beautiful virgins from the Church of Love. As for the combat experience of these beautiful soldiers, they could rely on the smart computer equipped with the Magic Cube mechanical warriors to control them. At the current stage, the smart computer controlling them was 100 times better than rookies fighting on their own. Yang Feng and his party came to a mountaintop not far from the Holy Fairy City. Chapter 574. As soon as Yang Feng arrived, the top of the hill split open, and a more than 50-meter-long battlestar artillery, which was rooted in the bottom half of the hill, suddenly extended from the hill and made fine adjustments. In the distance, a huge warship is flying towards the Holy Fairy City. Aboard the huge warship, there are 10,000 elite soldiers from the other plane development division who have suppressed many planes. Each of them is an advanced Great Warlock rank powerhouse, and they are extremely powerful. The Great Warlock rank was also a Legend rank expert. It was a critical point. No plane would resist the entry of a Legend rank expert, nor would it suppress a Legend rank expert. This was because Legend rank powerhouses were powerless to destroy the plane origin. The soldiers of the other plane development division's elite troops were all Great Warlock rank powerhouses. Only troops that trained new recruits would have level 1 to level 3 warlocks. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly, and he uttered frigidly, "What a pity, 10,000 elites. Let me bury all of you here." The Battlestar's level 2 Battlestar artillery shone brightly, and in the next moment, a resplendent beam shot out from the artillery and, as if tearing through the void, slammed into the huge warship in an instant. Boom! Before the huge warship could activate its magic shield, it was hit by the resplendent beam. The huge hull was penetrated, and the energy core of the hull was hit, triggering an even more terrifying explosion. The violent explosion engulfed the 10,000 Great Warlocks in an instant. Along with flashes of light, a dozen or so Starry Sky Warlocks luckily escaped from the huge explosion. A Starry Sky Warlock rank powerhouse covered in scars, tears in his eyes, issued a heart-wrenching roar, "Damn it! Yang Feng, you bastard, I, Wang Lei, am irreconcilable with you. If I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human." Wang Lei was the South Peace General who commanded the 10,000 elites of the other plane development division, and he possessed a Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation base. The 10,000 elites of the other plane development division had followed Wang Lei on expeditions and made countless contributions. They were his good brothers and subordinates. Now that the 10,000 brothers and subordinates were killed by Yang Feng, Wang Lei's eyes were bloodshot, and he almost went crazy. These heavenly Thunder Kings had already learned the general knowledge of this world from the captives. In this world, there was no terrifying war weapon like the main cannon of an interstellar battleship that had the power to destroy the world. Yang Feng spoke righteously, "You freaks of the Zhangji Plain invaded our Andrak Plain, burning, killing, and looting. You are no different from animals. I didn't expect you to have some affection for your own people. I am Orei, the Chief Inquisitor of the Church of the Goddess of Love. Today, I will send you to reunite with your brothers. You lowly aboriginals, you dare to use secret treasures made by that traitor Yang Feng to deal with us, this is a heinous crime, go to hell. Wang Lei's eyes flashed fiercely. He swept Yang Feng with a contemptuous glance, silently recited an incantation, and pointed at Yang Feng. Rays of magic radiance flickered, and 100-meter-tall fire elemental spirit summoned from the elemental plane suddenly appeared. Elemental fire that could easily burn demigod-rank powerhouses to ashes suddenly turned into a fearsome storm of fire sweeping towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled faintly. With a flick of his wrist, the demigod armament disk of flames suddenly appeared, and the demigod armament disk of flames devoured the berserk elemental fire in an instant, disappearing completely. The 1,000 magic cube mecha soldiers shone brightly with the railguns in their hands, and dazzling electromagnetic beams barreled towards the remaining dozen-plus Starry Sky warlocks. The remaining dozen-plus Starry Sky warlocks unleashed secret methods and fought with the 1,000 soldiers equipped with magic cube mechas. Each of the other plane development division's Starry Sky warlocks possessed quasi-moonlight warlock rank cultivation base. Moreover, they were battle-hardened and tyrannical. In a single confrontation, a dozen-plus magic cube mecha soldiers were destroyed and turned into countless fragments that scattered on the ground. Yang Feng frowned, then took out the demigod armament crown of evil, silently recited an incantation, and flicked his finger. The demigod armament crown of evil suddenly flew out, exuded nearly endless evil chi, and flew towards Wang Lei. Wang Lei's face fell, and he silently recited an incantation, and a pair of flame wings appeared on his back. The flame wings flapped, and a pillar of fire rose into the sky and barreled towards the crown of evil. The crown of evil suddenly grew a huge spirit body skull. As soon as the spirit body skull appeared, the surrounding temperature dropped by 12 degrees in an instant. When the spirit body skull slammed into the pillar of fire, the pillar of fire strangely extinguished. The crown of evil spirits strangely appeared on Wang Lei's head and pierced into his head. Runes shone brightly and frantically extracted Wang Lei's flesh and soul. Yang Feng looked at the crown of evil and revealed a smile. This isn't the crown of evil, but the legendary secret treasure Evil Holy Crown. The Evil Holy Crown is a warlock monarch rank evil monarch of the Tsangji Plains continent. He used the skull of a holy spirit warlock as the core, added countless rare materials, and used evil path alchemy to transform the power of the Holy Spirit Warlock into evil force, and then refined the monarch-grade secret treasure Evil Holy Crown. The Evil Holy Crown can greatly enhance the strength of the wearer. When a quasi-holy step powerhouse wears the Evil Holy Crown, they can even contend against a Holy Spirit Warlock for a short time. However, those who wear the Evil Holy Crown will be dominated by the Evil Holy Crown. Their soul and flesh will be absorbed, and they will be dominated by the evil monarch. There was once a quasi-holy step powerhouse who was dominated by the evil monarch using the Evil Holy Crown, making him virtually invincible for an era. The evil monarch died in a great catastrophe of the Tsangji Plain, and the Evil Holy Crown was severely damaged. It is unknown which plane it ended up in. Yang Feng didn't expect that he would get his hands on such a wicked monarch-grade secret treasure. Although the monarch-grade secret treasure Evil Holy Crown has been severely damaged, but as long as it continues to devour the flesh and soul of powerhouses, it will repair itself and eventually advance to a monarch-grade secret treasure. Wang Lei struggled for a while, then his eyes turned white and bloodshot, which were eventually swallowed by endless scarlet, and quasi-glorious sun warlock rank fluctuations of power erupted from him. Wang Lei pointed with a finger, and a 1,000-meter-long fire boa king was summoned from the elemental realm and swept towards the dozen-plus Starry Sky warlocks with the power to burn the sky and boil the sea. General! No! Along with screams, wherever the huge fire boa king passed, Starry Sky warlocks were burned to ashes one after another. Yang Feng pointed with a finger on Wang Lei's forehead, and a green rune appeared on Wang Lei's forehead and sealed him together with the Evil Holy Crown. Stimulated by the Evil Holy Crown, Wang Lei can exert quasi-glorious Sun Warlock rank power as many as 5 times. He can be Yang Feng's trump card. In the Andrak plane, quasi-glorious Sun Warlock-ranked powerhouses are enough to determine the outcome of a war of gods. The Narcissus Federation, the Presidential Palace. Blanche and the ministers of the Narcissus Federation quietly waited for the result of the battle. Ever since they saw the 13 demigod-ranked powerhouses of the Great Cloud Dynasty's Shadow Fong, they understood that this war is no longer a war that ordinary people can wipe their hands with. If Yang Feng, who borrowed the power of an evil god, is defeated by the Zhangji Plains powerhouses, then Blanche and the other ministers of the Narcissus Federation will have to consider fleeing. A communications officer rushed into the reception hall and roared excitedly, "Great news! Sir Ol led 1,000 personal guards to wipe out 10,000 Zhangji Plains legend evil fiends. Victory! Great! We won! Great! Ol, well done!" Bursts of excited cheers came from the reception hall. Originally, many ministers of the Narcissus Federation didn't have a favorable impression of Yang Feng, who killed the former judge of the Inquisition, and many of them were even hostile towards him. But now that Yang Feng wiped out 10,000 expeditionary forces from the Zhangji Plain, the ministers of the Narcissus Federation were immediately filled with gratitude towards Yang Feng. At least at this moment, they are full of gratitude towards Yang Feng. Blanche's delicate body trembled, her eyes turned red, and she shed tears of joy. She originally thought that the Narcissus Federation was finished, but Yang Feng turned the tide and saved the Narcissus Federation. Yang Feng strode into the reception hall, and all eyes focused on him. With a hearty laugh, he reached out and pulled Blanche into his arms. Then, he strode out of the room. A blush streaked across Blanche's pretty face, and while struggling powerlessly, she pleaded softly, "Let me go." Yang Feng blew into Blanche's ear, looked at the shy and beautiful Blanche, and revealed a smile. "Madam President, according to our agreement, from today on, you are my woman." The guards around the reception hall could only watch as Yang Feng disappeared with the beautiful president in his arms. Before long, the Narcissus Federation received intelligence on the other 6 states. The Zhangji Plains expeditionary forces stormed the capitals of the 7 states of the Andrak Plain. Before the Zhangji Plains expeditionary forces stormed the capitals of the Ice Blue Kingdom, the Scarlet Flame State, the Norton State, and the Gudama Kingdom. The Ice Blue State is located in the Ice Blue Snow Domain shrouded in ice and snow, and the Scarlet Flame State is located in the Lava Mountain Range. They blend into the environment, making it difficult for the Zhangji Plains human warlocks to find them. Chapter 575. The Norton Kingdom and the Gudama Kingdom also took advantage of the environment to hide a lot of experts. The capitals of the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom and the Glun Kingdom, however, were breached by the Zhangji Plains Expeditionary Army in one fell swoop, and the Zhangji Plains human warlocks massacred them. The Zhangji Plains Expeditionary Army also inflicted heavy losses on the experts of the churches of the God of Justice and the God of Murder, with only some of them escaping. A large number of refugees poured into the Narcissus Federation from the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom and the Glun Kingdom. Hearing about the miserable state of the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom and the Glun Kingdom, the ministers of the Narcissus Federation were filled with lingering fear. After receiving Yang Feng's funding, various weapons were quickly deployed in the Narcissus Federation, and many benefits were ceded to Yang Feng. Within the royal palace of the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom, Chen Sheng, the deputy commander of the Great Cloud Dynasty's expeditionary army, sat on the throne with 2 beautiful women in cyan muslin in his arms. In front of Chen Sheng, a dozen beautiful women knelt and carefully served him. In the main hall, more than a dozen generals were hugging beauties in their arms. They were drinking and playing with those beauties wantonly. Unrestrained laughter, women's moans, and all kinds of sounds intertwined. The entire hall was filled with a lustful atmosphere. Sitting on the throne, Chen Sheng looked at this scene condescendingly with indescribable pleasure. Every time he conquered a plain, he indulged his subordinates. Suddenly, a guard strode into the palace and said anxiously, "Commander, the 10,000 elites led by General Wang Lei were annihilated in the Narcissus Federation." Ding! Chen Sheng's face changed drastically, and his hand trembled slightly, causing the wine glass in his hand to fall to the ground with a crisp sound. His eyes flashed with anger as he snapped, "Have you confirmed this matter?" In the Great Cloud Dynasty, experts were as common as clouds in the sky. It had a standing army of more than 3 billion spread across countless planes. However, among the 3 billion standing army, there were only 30 million elite troops composed entirely of great warlocks. The other plane development division controls an elite army composed of great warlocks, but it only has 5 million great warlocks. When Bai Tianxing came to attack the Andrak plane, he transferred 1 million elites from the other plane development division. Now that 10,000 elites were annihilated, the deputy commander of the expeditionary force, Chen Sheng, who was in charge of the attack on the surface world, would definitely be held responsible. After the Cangji Plains army under Chen Sheng's command captured the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom, the entire army suffered 0 casualties. He knew very well how weak the resistance of the surface world was. This made him unwilling to believe that the 10,000 expeditionary troops of the Great Cloud Dynasty were annihilated. The guard replied, "This subordinate has already confirmed that it's true." Yang Feng, who fled to this plane, gave the aboriginals the secret treasures he developed. A chief inquisitor of the Church of the Goddess of Love called Ol used Yang Feng's alchemical secret treasure to destroy Sir Wang Lei's warship, and Sir Wang Lei was killed by Ol. With a sinister look on his face, Chen Sheng roared madly, "That bastard Yang Feng, he deserves to die. How dare you kill the brothers of the other plane development division? What a beast! Traitor of the Great Cloud Dynasty!" The high-ranking officers of the other plane development division revealed peculiar looks. The high-ranking officers of the other plane development division have heard that Yang Feng was framed and hunted down. Most of the high-ranking officers of the other plane development division were trained by the Bai family or the Great Cloud Dynasty. Although they sympathized with Yang Feng, but they still firmly carried out the orders of the Great Cloud Dynasty. They didn't expect that in the Andrak plane, it would be Yang Feng, who was chased here, who turned around and killed 10,000 elites. Shit! A premonition of death welled up in his heart and Chen Sheng's complexion changed drastically. Transforming into a streak of light, he shot forward while summoning 6 diamond-shaped crystal artifacts around his body to form a diamond-shaped defensive barrier. A resplendent beam of light descended from the sky and blasted into the imperial palace like divine punishment. The dozen-plus high-ranking officers with Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation base were instantly vaporized and disappeared. Worthy of being one of the deputy commanders of the expeditionary force, Chen Sheng flew out of the royal palace at the critical moment, and then saw a rain of light barreling towards the great warlocks of the expeditionary force. Swept by the dense rain of light, the great warlocks of the other plane development division's expeditionary army, who were indulging in plundering and burning, were caught off guard, and were easily killed like ants. Chen Sheng's eyes flashed like lightning, and countless runes appeared in his eyes and formed an inverted triangle, and he saw a battlestar suspended 500 kilometers away. The Arc Battlestar fired a rain of light that mercilessly harvested the lives of the other plane development division's powerhouses. Chen Sheng roared wildly, "Yang Feng, you bastard, you're also a person of the Cangji plane. To help these aboriginals kill the elites of the Cangji plane, you're a traitor worse than pigs and dogs." Sitting on the bridge of the battlestar, Yang Feng sneered, "Idiot, if I don't kill you, do you want me to wait for you to kill me? What a moron." Katrina uttered with a sweet smile, "He's not a moron, but you, dear, made him muddle-headed. If he catches you, I'm afraid he'll change his attitude." Yang Feng asked, "Do you think he'll rush here to throw away his life?" As one of the deputy commanders of the expeditionary force, Chen Sheng is a glorious sun warlock. Even though he is suppressed by the plane origin will, he still possesses junior Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation base and possesses formidable battle prowess. In the surface world without gods, he is virtually invincible. Katrina uttered with a smile, "If he isn't a fool, he should choose to retreat." "My dear, you have already condensed a virtual world, and you will be able to unleash your full power for a period of time." Suppressed by the plane origin will, he can only display junior Moonlight Warlock rank strength. He'll only be throwing away his life if he comes. Yang Feng's name has already shaken the world in the Battle of the Time Sky City, and the fact that he formed a virtual world inside him cannot be concealed from the world. The experts of the Other Plane Development Division must have thoroughly studied Yang Feng before entering the Andrak plane, so the fact that he has a virtual world inside him cannot be concealed from others. As an intermediate Glorious Sun Warlock, Chen Sheng can only display Junior Moonlight Warlock rank strength in the surface world. If he dares to fight Yang Feng, he will die without a doubt. Disperse and retreat. Chen Sheng took a deep look at the battle star, gritted his teeth, and roared. Magic light lit up, and the great warlocks of the Other Plane Development Division cast various spells and fled into the distance. Chen Sheng took out a secret treasure and pressed it on his body, and a pair of dragon wings suddenly appeared on his back. With a flap of the dragon wings, a violent wind flashed, and he appeared several kilometers away. There was a flash of spatial ripples, the space in front of Chen Sheng distorted, and Yang Feng walked out and uttered with a cold smile, "Submit to me or die." Chen Sheng's face fell, and he retreated briskly and barked, "Yang Feng, you dare to kill people from my great Cloud dynasty here? You're worse than pigs and dogs, aren't you afraid of being executed?" Yang Feng smiled coldly and uttered frigidly, "What a joke. Since the Bai family has attacked my battle demon sect, then we are mortal enemies. Chen Sheng, I'll give you 1 second to think about it, submit to me or die. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. Since the Great Cloud Dynasty's royal family has launched an attack on the Battle Demon sect, Yang Feng no longer has any scruples. He will use all his power to destroy the Great Cloud Dynasty. If he can annihilate the main force of the Other Plane Development Division here, it will be equivalent to cutting off an arm of the Great Cloud Dynasty. It will weaken the Great Cloud Dynasty step by step." Chen Sheng barked, "How dare you? If the Emperor wants the subject to die, then the subject has to die. Since His Majesty has decided to eradicate the Battle Demon sect, then the Battle Demon sect should stretch out its neck and accept death. You don't abide by the way of a subject and wantonly slaughter the elites of my Great Cloud Dynasty. You are a traitor and sinner of the Tsangji Plane. It's not too late for you to surrender, and I can plead with His Majesty to spare your life. Are you a brainwashed fool of the Bai family? Since that's the case, you can go to hell." Killing intent streaked past Yang Feng's eyes, and he frantically extracted the power of the small world inside him. Intermediate Moonlight Warlock rank aura gushed out in an instant, and the true God Empyrean imprint suddenly flew out. Transcendent aura surged, and countless black chains swept towards Chen Sheng. Chen Sheng gritted his teeth and silently recited an incantation. His body suddenly swelled, and he turned into a 1,000-meter-tall gold giant monarch. The gold giant monarch Chen Sheng transformed into slammed a huge bone containing the law of power into the true God Empyrean imprint. When the bone slammed into the true God Empyrean imprint, it passed through the true God Empyrean imprint like an illusion. The true God Empyrean seal strangely appeared on the forehead of the golden giant king that Chen Sheng had transformed into. Countless black rune chains gushed out, pierced into Chen Sheng's body, and frantically sealed his power. "No! How can this be? No! I'm a Glorious Sun Warlock, I won't accept this." Chen Sheng let out a heart-wrenching roar and transformed into a human. Finally, countless black runes pierced into him and turned into strange runes that entered the true God Empyrean imprint and became a part of the true God Empyrean imprint. Yang Feng beckoned with his hand and summoned the true God Empyrean imprint into his hand. Looking at the newly added runes, he revealed a smile, "Glorious Sun Warlock. I really have to thank the Andrak Plane's plane suppression. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for me to defeat a Glorious Sun Warlock." Chapter 576. In the Andrak Plane's outer space, 90 huge warships formed a battle formation. Linked together by the Warlock Towers, the huge warships formed a formidable barrier to resist the divine legions commanded by the 7 gods. Ice elves, lava beasts, magic note ferocious werewolves, and human braves poured out of the 7 divine countries in a steady stream and attacked the human warlocks' defensive line. countless human warlocks fought with the divine legions. From time to time, several human warlocks would die. But even more divine soldiers were captured, sealed, and thrown into warlock towers by the human warlocks using various secret methods. In the Andrak plane, once a divine soldier was killed, their soul would return to the divine country again. Within the divine kingdom, the gods would pour their souls into containers to form new warriors of God. Every time a divine soldier died in battle, their soul would be weakened by a fraction. After death, their soul would be obliterated. However, if soul stones were used to replenish the soul of a divine soldier, or the soul of other petitioners as nutrients, they could nourish the divine soldiers and make them stronger in battle. It was for this reason that soul stones were the hard currency of the divine country, fiends, devils, and other powerful beings. If it was anyone else, they would have a headache when encountering the nearly undying divine legions like the gods. The Tsangji Plane's other plane development division, which was responsible for other plane wars, had encountered gods many times. Therefore, many warlocks would seal and suppress divine soldiers while fighting. Every time a divine soldier was suppressed and sealed, their soul would return to the divine country via the plane's laws, and the divine legion would be weakened a bit. Under this constant accumulation, the divine legion would eventually be exhausted. At that time, it would be the best time to deal with the god's true body. With the help of more than 40 Moonlight Warlocks, Dong Rui and the other 2 Glorious Sun Warlocks, and with the help of the Warlock Towers, opened a powerful barrier and resisted the siege of the 7 gods. Each of the 7 gods went all out and sent an avatar with more than 90% of their power. If that incarnation perished, their real bodies in the divine kingdom would also be severely injured. The 7 god clones burned the divine force crystals in a frenzy, and each of their attacks contained the terrifying power of laws. Besieged by the 7 god clones, the nearly 50 Moonlight Warlocks, including Dong Rui, could only barely resist with the help of the Warlock Towers. Bai Tianqing stood proudly on a huge warship, looking at the fierce battle between Dong Rui and the 7 gods with indifference. Although Dong Rui and the other 50 Moonlight Warlocks are suppressed by the 7 gods, but as long as the believers of the 7 gods in the surface world are slaughtered, the 7 gods will slowly weaken, and eventually be suppressed by the Tsangji Plane's human warlocks. Even though they are in a stalemate, the divine legions of the 7 gods are weakening bit by bit. In 2 years at most, the divine legions will be completely suppressed by human warlocks. At that time, with the combined power of all human warlocks, the 7 gods can still be defeated. At this moment, a guard stepped forward and said, "Commander, there's a report from below." Bai Tianqing uttered lightly, "Read it." The guard replied, "The expeditionary army commanded by General Chen Sheng has defeated the resistance of the Ice Blue Kingdom, the Scarlet Flame Kingdom, the Norton Kingdom, and the Gudama Kingdom. Furthermore, they have destroyed the capitals of the Bramble Sparrow Kingdom and the Glun Kingdom, killed more than 4 million enemies, and destroyed 72 evil god churches." Bai Tianqing showed a smile, "Well done." As long as this continues, in less than a year, the 7 great gods will be weakened to the limit, and this plane will also be in my pocket. At this moment, another guard came out of the warship with an anxious expression and said anxiously, "Commander, there's an urgent report." Bai Tianqing frowned slightly, and an unclear premonition welled up in his heart, "Read it." The guard said in a trembling voice, "General Wang Lei and his 10,000 elite troops were wiped out by the aboriginal Aurelia using the traitor Yang Feng's secret treasure. General Chen Sheng and his 40,000 elite troops were also raided by Yang Feng, and more than 90% of them were wiped out. Zhou Ming, Wang Lei, Wang Feng, Zhao Ming, Lu Hai, and Shengwan Nan were all killed by the aboriginal Aurelia, and most of their elite troops were wiped out. We have less than 10,000 elite troops left in the surface world." As soon as this statement came out, the complexion of the generals changed dramatically, and they were both shocked and angry. Bai Tianqing's face suddenly changed dramatically, and he roared angrily, "Yang Feng! Aurelia! You 2 damned beasts! I'll tear you to pieces!" Originally, the Tsangji Plane's expeditionary army had gained an advantage in both the Andrak Plane's outer space and the surface world. In the surface world, it had gained an absolute advantage. But now the surface world lost 90,000 elite troops, and more than 50 Moonlight Warlocks and one Glorious Sun Warlock died. This was a huge blow to the Expeditionary Army. This was equivalent to 1/10 of the Expeditionary Army's strength being wiped out. Moreover, the Tsangji Plains Expeditionary Army was now facing the danger of being pincered by reinforcements from the underground world and divine legions. A general waited for Bai Tianqing to calm down a little, and then suggested, "Commander, the situation is very bad. The ground forces have been wiped out. With our strength alone, we're not enough to contend against the 7 gods. Let's withdraw for now. After the people below completely analyze the plane origin we'll come back and wipe out the aboriginal gods in one fell swoop." The number of experts the other plane development division sent to attack the Andrak plane far exceeded that of the aboriginal gods. In this expeditionary army, the number of Moonlight Warlocks and above exceeded 200. But due to the suppression of the plane origin the strength of the Glorious Sun Warlocks, Moonlight Warlocks, and Starry Sky Warlocks was suppressed, which was why they were completely suppressed by the 7 gods. If the Tsangji Plains human warlocks analyzed the plane origin of the Andrak plane, they would be able to develop the corresponding secret treasures through the Secret Treasure Division. When the other plane development division's army arrived again, the Glorious Sun Warlocks and Moonlight Warlocks would be able to display their original strength with the help of secret treasures. "200 Moonlight Warlocks and above could even force their way into the country of a feeble divine force rank god. After paying a certain price, they could slay the feeble divine force rank god." Bai Tianqing's face fell, and he barked, "Shut up! How could I, Bai Tianqing, be defeated here? How could I be defeated by a group of aboriginals?" The general's face flickered, and he fell silent. This time, Bai Tianqing led the other plane development division's 1 million elite troops to attack the Andrak plane. If he won, he would naturally gain glory and great benefits, and the entire Andrak plane would become his backyard. But once Bai Tianqing is defeated and returns to the Tsangji plain, the 100,000 elite troops will be lost. Even if he is one of the most powerful princes of the Great Cloud dynasty, he will be attacked countless times, impeached by his brothers, and eventually lose his power. Bai Tianqing was silent for a while, then his eyes shimmered with a sinister light, and he said coldly, "Reinforcements, go ask the division chief for help. Tell him that I need another 2 million troops. As long as he sends troops to help me, I can give him 70% of the Andrak plane. At the same time, I'll give him a grade 9 plane." "Yes, Your Highness." A Moonlight Warlock responded respectfully, then flew into the void aboard a warship, set off ripples, and disappeared from this world. Bai Tianqing asked lightly, "How many days will it take to analyze the plane origin of this world?" A research-type warlock reported, "Judging from the current progress, it will take our research team 10 years to fully analyze the plane origin of this world. If we only rely on the survivors below, it will take 30 to 300 years. The research-type warlocks, who were responsible for analyzing the plane origin wills of each plane, quickly reported an accurate figure. 10 years, 30 years, or even 300 years isn't a long time for warlocks. Bai Tianqing frowned slightly and sighed slowly, 10 years, that's too long. At this time, the Great Cloud Dynasty's Bai family has launched an all-out attack on the Battle Demon sect. Bai Tianqing's princes and brothers are active on various fronts, striking at the Battle Demon sect's forces. Under such circumstances, Bai Tianqing gathered the other plane development division's 1 million troops to attack the Andrak plane, hoping to settle the war as soon as possible and take control of the Andrak plane. Then, he can continue to attack the Battle Demon sect's forces, make great contributions, and ascend to the position of Crown Prince. For Bai Tianqing, 10 years is too long. He can't afford to wait. If he misses this opportunity, the gap between Bai Tianqing and the other princes will widen by a huge margin. Bai Tianqing clenched his fists, and his handsome face twisted and filled with madness. "Damn Yang Feng, you bastard, why don't you just die? Why did you come out and ruin my plan? Wretched bastard!" If it wasn't for Yang Feng, Bai Tianqing was confident that he could completely suppress the Andrak plane's 7 gods within 2 years. Even if he couldn't kill them completely, he could at least seriously injure them, seal them, and use them as top materials for alchemy's secret treasures. But Yang Feng wiped out more than 90,000 of the surface world's 100,000 elites. Bai Tianxing can only switch from offense to defense, wait for reinforcements, and guard against Yang Feng's pincer attack. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.